Ladies and lads, welcome to HEATSPEAK episode 3. It's been a while since we did the last one. You can see Kakoma, he's woke up very, very early. He's yawning, but we got we got a nice selection of people here, man. I'm very, very happy to be joined by you guys. Kakoma, VDX, Joker, and Rip. How you guys doing, man? How's it going?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, all good, all
Doing
good.
great.
Yeah, good stuff.
All good.
Kakoma, you okay, mate?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You're tired. Look tired.
I guess.
Oh my gosh. All right, man. But yes, HeatSpeak episode 3. Obviously, like the last one was actually, I think it was in March, man. It was very, very long time ago. And by the way, guys, if anyone's a little bit too quiet or too loud, let me know. I can adjust the volumes. Haven't done this for a while, man. But Tekken 8, man. Guys, obviously the conversation, what we're going to be going through, as you can see on the topics, we're first going to be talking about the Tekken World Tour and the EWC, kind of just talking more about the competitive season that we've had now that it's coming to an end. We're going to move on to, I think, probably what most of you guys are here for, which is the state of Tekken 8, what we here on the panel think of Tekken 8 at the moment, where we are, and where we're headed as well. Where are we going to be going? Where do we want to be for Season 2 of Tekken 8? So there's a lot to talk about today, man. And I want to start with the Tekken World Tour and EWC. Let's just get straight into this. Obviously, we've all been a part of it in some way, right? The competitive season. And let me start with you, Joker, actually, because obviously we've been talking a lot about this. Tekken World Tour. Joker, what have you, how's been your experience? Obviously, you qualified for the tour now. What's been your experience so far of like, the tour and how it's been this year?
It's been good, man. It's been different. Man, I didn't think I'd do well this year or qualify because obviously first year of Tekken and the game's completely different to Tekken 7. But yeah, I qualified for Tekken World Tour Finals. Didn't qualify for EWC unfortunately, but
Mm.
yeah, we're learning. I'm happy and grateful that the Tekken World Tour is still here. And of course, the addition of EWC is just amazing in general for esports and for everybody, I think, for all the competitors, for all the spectators and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a great experience thus far.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about the EWC as well. But Rip, of course, I mean, you've been around for a very long time, seeing how Tekken's grown. Not just through the Tekken 7 with the Tekken World Tour, obviously 2017, but even before that, when the MLG
Mhm.
days and Tekken 6 and stuff. But what's been your kind of take on Tekken World Tour this year? Has it been any better for you from Tekken 7, or anything that's kind of been done better this year than last year, or maybe something that's not been as good?
I mean, in general, the tour is roughly the same, right? Obviously, they have format differences in how the dojos are handled. There was no online qualifiers or any points from online this time around, so things were different in that regard. I feel like, they probably would need to look back at that. I remember the online part specifically, because prior we had online qualifiers or online dojos with the ICFC tournaments, and I felt like that was a good way to get points. But now with dojos being worth so much, there's like a rebalancing of sorts that's happened. So I'm not really sure where things need to head to in the future, but I'm sure it's something that they're going to look at after this year. I think it was kind of just a reaction to Street Fighter and how they were like, "Oh, we're gonna have a bunch of online things." They're like, "Oh yeah, well watch this, no online,"
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I felt like that was just where they were headed with it. But overall, the tournaments are always fun. Tech World Tour always delivers in terms of having the competitors come out. I think Esports World Cup having the qualifiers alongside TWT helped a lot because a lot of the players that were trying to qualify for Esports World Cup ended up coming out to Tekken World Tour events. So
right.
I think that helped the tour itself too.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think having EWC tied in with the World Tour was genius actually. It worked really well to kind of get people out there, even for some of the maybe events that people wouldn't have typically gone to, like maybe DreamHack Dallas, right? You got so many people going down there. I think you were there for that one, right? It was a
Hmm.
challenger event, I think, this year, right? And but it was also an esports World Cup qualifier, so I think it had like hundreds of people fee. Um, it's like Tekken World Tour. Obviously, this year you've taken a bit of a step back when it comes to the competition and grinding out like the tournaments and stuff. But you have been watching them. You have been involved still. How have you found the Tekken World Tour this year?
Yeah, I feel like I have so many thoughts on this,
Mm,
and because early in the season I was going to all like the U.S. tournaments, like kind of like what I already did in the previous tours. Um, but what stood out to me this year was how much balance was a discussion going on throughout the entire season. And there was this, I felt like very early on, there were these discussions about how much do you want to adjust a game where professionals are putting their careers on the line for it, right? So like, can we make aggressive patches when competitors need, especially in a game like Tekken, competitors need a lot of time to develop intuition, comfort, instinct, right? So early on, I felt this push pull between should we patch the game a lot and make the game really good, or do we keep it stable for the competitors? And I feel like they tried to compromise, and they were very vocal about it, which I commended them for multiple times. Was like, we're going to patch a bunch early and then let it sit. Unfortunately, I feel like the casual players have suffered more, or have been at least more vocal about it, because Dragonov has stayed really strong, like Nina has stayed really strong. So mixed bag. I think in terms of the level of competition, I've loved it. I loved seeing, like, again, a challenger event that felt like one of the sweatiest tournaments in the tour at DreamHack
Yeah.
Dallas. The level of competition we've seen is amazing. I'm a big esports guy, so it's always going to be cool to me. But I think it's worth noting that there have been people who I feel like maybe they would have found something else to complain about anyways. But the idea that we may have been able to patch the game more if there were a different formatted tour or less of a like classical 1 year tour is a topic that's interesting to me.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. I think that it's that, and we you touched upon it a little bit about how the casual players want to see change, of course. With and we'll get to that as well when it comes to kind of the state of Tekken 8 and where the characters are right now with the meta. But they are waiting until, I guess, the competitive year is over, because I remember in season 3, I don't know if you guys remember, season 3, they changed. They made a huge overhaul of kind of a lot of characters. They gave characters new moves. Some were buffed a lot. Some were nerfed a lot. And that kind of changed stuff so dramatically in the middle of the tour, right? And a lot of people actually are angry about it. Of course, there were some people whose characters were buffed; they weren't too pissed. But I knew people who had all their characters nerfed on, and they're like, "Dude, I was in the top 20. Now I'm finding it so much harder to adapt to this new kind of character." Like Katarina, Geese, even Geese, I wouldn't say was nerfed, but he was changed a lot, right? So, doing these things, I'm always a believer in kind of doing these big changes, maybe like at the end of a competitive season, if you can. I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's better that way, right?
Yeah, I think like timing is so important with these patches. Like I think the DreamHack Sweden one, like we have to speak about, because they did the heat burst change, and I still remember like how impactful that was, because I remember everyone seeing like the heat burst just whiff, and everyone just looking at it like it's too big of a game changer. Like
Yeah.
I think that patch should have been after DreamHack Sweden, because DreamHack Sweden was 8 people qualified for EWC. I
Yeah.
think that just changed everything. I think it's important when they drop these patches, and of course, whether they do at the end of a season, at the start of a season, middle of a season, like.
No, I agree with you. I agree. Kokoma. We'll
Yeah.
get to you now. Finally, welcome and thank you for joining us here early morning. We actually traveled a lot together this year, Kokoma. We've seen you in many different countries. At the start of the of Tekken 8, I feel like a lot of people said that Kokoma, his playstyle is going to suit the game a lot. And we're going to talk about what you think about the game. But first, I just want to get your thoughts. What did you think of Tekken World Tour this year? Like, what's your opinion? Is there anything that you think that you want to change, or like, what did you think?
Of course, like um since this year Tekken World Tour start, like for me the dojo system was really annoying. Like
Okay.
in Korea and like Asian areas, there are not that much the dojo, and everyone get the dojo point like 600 or at least 500 point from anywhere, and even it's really scary for international pro player. Like when no people I won the Dubai tournament,
Yeah.
it was actually pretty dangerous
Yeah.
for the point was
Yeah.
like everyone just got the point from dojo like 500 points. Even I don't know who they are, and kind of or
These unknown players, bro. Who are these guys that got all these points, man? Where are they coming from? Oh my god.
or yeah, it was pretty scary. And like I mean the point system should be like separate the dojo and for global
Ah,
leaderboard. Like
okay.
we need kind of that things, I guess. Like those systems point is too huge. 600 point is pretty much.
Mm.
So it's like, oh shit. I need to wake up.
No, it's good. I understand what you're saying.
Anyway,
You're saying
Yeah.
that
Anyway.
yeah, go on.
I will say is even in final rule is pretty weird for me.
Okay.
Like it's already separate winners and losers side,
Mhm.
but it should be just one thing. And even the all global leaderboard players should go LCQ if we lost.
Yeah.
Like in winner side, we just fight each other. It means like we all traveled whole world. That 20 players fight each other in same group and just go LCQ. Like I feel like what did we do for?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. So this is actually perfect. The way that that you kind of you segued us into the Tekken World Tour Finals format, which I want to talk about, and then we're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about the EWC as well. But Tekken World Tour, guys, here we go. Let's have a look at the players that are qualified right now. As you can see on screen, we have in number 1. We'll go through the list: Arslan, Ash, Ulsan, Mulgold, Atif, Kokoma. So that's our top 5 right there. 3 Koreans, 2 Pakistanis. We have then AK, the John, who managed to get in there last minute. Shadow also managing to make it in there last minute with an incredible performance at Tiger Uppercut. Chikarin, who, qualified pretty early with his performance at Evo Japan. Joker, who's on, with us as well here. Joker in 10th place, so top 10 there. Rankchu, Raif, Chanel, CBM, Double, Nobi. So we've got Japanese people. We've got 3 Japanese players, actually. Then Ferzine, Low High Jod, and Lee Mishima from Argentina making it in their last second from that win at the Master event. I believe it was Bolivia, right? There was a Master event there, which he won, yeah. Then from the regional side, we have from North America, Fear of Silence, Central America, Divine Exorcist, Noel from South America, Daniel Mato last minute as well. He traveled to 2 tournaments in 1 day and managed to win both of them and qualified last minute for West Europe. East Europe, you have Kwistakis from Greece, Shaoling from West Africa, Yon Dame from Madagascar, Dead Kari from Morocco, Sam Brother, who we've seen quite a lot of this year from Saudi Arabia, from Middle East, Noman Chaudhry for Pakistan. We have Tejan from India, Book from Thailand, Ali Dar from Oceania, and we have Moil and Shonen, who are 2 killers as well that we've seen come out from Korea and Japan. And if you guys are a little bit confused about the format, which Kokoma did say is a little bit confusing, I made this amazing graphic. Don't laugh. If you laugh in the chat, you're getting banned. All right? Who laughed? Was that you, Rip?
No,
Don't-
definitely.
Don't laugh, okay?
Me, sorry.
This is going to make it a lot easier for you guys to understand with my beautiful Microsoft Paint drawing, okay? So the way it's going to work is the 5th and 6th of December, we have the global...
Is this yours or is this the official from the person who made the thing?
I made this.
I wasn't sure. I couldn't tell.
Yeah. So I know it's very good design work, but this was from me, man. 20 players from the 5th of December, the global leaderboard. They're gonna play. The top 8 goes into top 16 on the winner side. The regional leaderboard will face off in a round robin format bracket as well. And do their games on the 6th of December, and that will be 15 players, and 6 of them make it into the losers bracket for the top 16. So the regional leaderboard, they make it straight into losers. And then on the 7th of December, we'll have the LCQ, and the LCQ will have 2 players making it into the losers bracket. That is going to make up our top 16, which takes place on the 8th of December, and that will just be a normal bracket, which goes all the way to the top, until we find out who the winner is. The thing is that this time, though, if anyone who doesn't make it through the global or regional pools, they are able to fight in the LCQ. That's the big change here, which is a little bit weird, but it's very unique though. So that's how that is going to work. And I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this because it is very, very confusing format, but it is very unique as well. I kind of like it. Rip, I want to ask you because you've kind of been there for all the finals and well, most of the finals. And I want to see your opinion. What's your opinion on that one, Rip?
I I'm very confused by it, to be honest. I think it's really weird that, you, like Kakoma was saying, you travel the world, you're in the top 20, and then 12 of those top 20 are eliminated, but they're not really eliminated. They're just kind of eliminated. And then you have 15 of the other players from the regional leaderboard, right? And then is it 7 of them are eliminated, but not really eliminated. And then that 12 plus 7, 19 players then enter the last chance qualifier for the last 2 spots, right?
Yeah.
So everyone else, the 500, 700 people that are entering the last chance qualifier, you get to go against 19 people who have qualified for the tour already for 2 spots. I think it really hurts the LCQ because the LCQ was the last chance for everyone else who did not qualify. But now it's like everyone who did qualify, that's your last chance to get to the finals. Everyone else, well, if you kind of missed out on this year, then you got one tournament to beat all those other people. That's kind of what it boils down to. So the LCQ, I think, isn't as interesting to me. It's going to be a crazy tournament for sure. But for the entire tournament format, I'm not really a big fan of it compared to years past.
Joker, I mean, obviously you're going to be in this finals as well. That's been taking place in December. What do you make of this format as well? You've obviously competed in the previous finals as well. What's your take on this finals format?
Yeah, I don't like it as well. Like, I don't understand why regional and global is like separate. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like Kokoma said, why are we traveling the world? We play each other like in these tournaments where we're trying to qualify for the Tekken World Tour, and then we're playing just each other in the global finals. It doesn't make any sense. It should be regional as well. And yeah, like even I don't know, the LCQ stuff to me seems a bit weird as well. I'm not gonna lie. Like, so I'm meant to focus on finals, yeah, and then you got someone telling me that, oh, you can enter LCQ if you lose. I'm not even thinking about losing. I'm thinking about winning. So like, I don't get it. Like, it's just weird.
You just got to lock in, bro. You know when you lose on the
Yeah.
first day, you got to lock in, man. You got one day, watch the regionals, and then you got to play LCQ, bro. Fee,
Exactly.
what do you think of this format, man? Is again, they've tried to innovate here, be very unique with the way that they've designed this thing. We haven't seen anything like this before, right? So, what do you make of this?
Right. So clarifying question. The first pool of global players don't interact with the regional players until the LCQ.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So I remember they announced this format and they said we wanted to reward the people traveling the world in particular because it's more expensive, it's more difficult, it's more taxing, it's in general harder than just competing in your region, right? So I get the rationale of why they tried to do it this way, but I am also confused that this is what we ended up with. Now, like, I think I'm not super qualified to suggest an alternative, so that's why I haven't been like, it should be this, because I'm not sure. But I would agree with Rip that it kills some of the hype of the LCQ because you're less likely to get those like sleeper out of nowhere players come up and make a huge splash in the tournament. Like, for example, in the Amsterdam 2022 TWT, we saw Jod break out. And it was, I think, the first time a lot of international people got to see him play and watch his optimized Nina, right? I think that situations like that are less likely to happen when, 19 people? Is that what we said? Are coming down from the main format into the LCQ?
Correct.
So yeah, I would agree that it kills a lot of LCQ hype. I would also say that as a regional qualifier, it feels weird immediately starting in losers, right? Like, I think that I wonder if there was a better way to reward the global people without necessarily super punching down on the regional players. But it's such a weird situation in general. I think that, like, if you put the regional players on a level playing field too, it also feels weird for the global players. So I don't know what solution there could have been, but I think that there's a lot that everybody seems equally unhappy about.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think it's difficult to know how to reward the global players without, it seems like maybe it was overly harsh on the regional guys, that they've been put in, that you have to fight for a spot in losers, right? But this is how they've gone. I don't know. That's, again, I can't think of what they could have done to make this format a little bit different. If anyone else has any suggestions, let me know in it. But I think it's unique, and I want to see how it plays out. I want to see how it plays out, and what the experience of everyone in the regional and global leaderboard is, and how the LCQ goes as well. Because like you mentioned, the LCQ for me is always like for me it's the highlight of every finals. Actually, you
Yeah.
know, the finals are hype. Is to see who's the champion is great. But I love watching the LCQ personally, right? I've always loved it. Loved it in 2018 when we had Grolanda winning. I loved it in 2019 when Bilal had that crazy run. And then, you know, Joe Crush doing what he did. And, you know, when would we have got those if the best players in the from the globals were going down and playing in the LCQ as well? You're just getting another it's very likely going to be a situation where two players that have already qualified, that we've already watched on day number 1 or day number 2, will make it back in. And it's like, well, is that hype? I'd kind of want to see a new player make it in there and challenge these really strong players that have qualified through the conventional system, right? So I think that maybe it's gonna kill the LCQ a little bit, the hype wise, but I don't know what you guys think.
No, I totally agree with that. It's the same thing, right? Like you kind of expect these players, the 19 who are going to drop down into the LTQ, you kind of expect two of them to make it back out into the top 16 bracket at the end. So it's a rough situation, and I think for me though, it really, the part that hurts the most is that the regional leaderboard doesn't get to play against the global leaderboard. I think that part is really disappointing because when you think past TWT finals, guys like Divine Exorcist, you know, who are like at the bottom of the top 20, when they had those big opportunities, those big moments against the top players, that's where they really got to make a name for themselves. Now you have these regional leaderboard guys who could have had that opportunity, and you've just taken it away from them, basically. You know, it's like there's going to be so much less of that happening until you get to the final day, and even then, it's going to be much harder for them to have that kind of an impact. So there's a chance we'll get some of it on the finals day, but it's a rough situation, I think.
Like I wonder if they had given like seeding advantage the global leaderboard. Maybe that doesn't feel like a good enough like perk for having again traveled the entire world, but you would get that spectator hype moment of watching a top seed versus a, you know, bottom seed regional like a regional standout. And I think that creates a lot of, like you're saying, like tournament hype, tournament stories, like breakout moments. So yeah, it's a strange situation, wanting to reward the global leaderboard, not finding a optimal way to do it, and like punishing the other people as a result. It's very strange.
That's just to add on to what Thee's saying. That's another thing I don't like as well. They never announce how it's going to be seeded, how the finals is going to work out, the groups and whatnot. We always have to wait for so long. Like I don't understand that. Why isn't that announced like as soon as the Tekken World Tour is announced or when the finals is announced? Why do we have to wait for so long? It makes no sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, but I'm actually also quite excited to see how this format's going to play out as well. On that, you know, it just seems it's so unconventional that I just want to see how it plays out. We might all really love it, you know. We might be like, oh, this is sick. You know, the LCQ became way more hype because you've got all these players now. Who knows? It could be actually really, really hype because we are going to inevitably get these global and regional players playing the LCQ at least, you know, maybe not in the finals, but they might find each other in the LCQ. So it's gonna be interesting for sure. But
There's a chance the LCQ top 8 is better than the actual top 8.
I mean, that's happened before, I feel like. Already.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's hype too. I mean, maybe the LCQ is gonna be super, super sick. By the way, people are saying that your mic is quite low. I don't know if you can turn it up. I'll put you on max on Discord, but yeah.
I'm on max. All right, let me see.
Yeah, I'll put you on max. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Okay, so for Tekken World Tour, there's also a couple of things I want to bring up as well. When it comes to the kind of locations that were chosen this year, there were a lot of different locations that were chosen for the tour, which is really, really cool. We had, you know, Africa, West Africa in the mix. We had, you know, Madagascar was there too. We had New Zealand, and you know, it definitely is a real like nice world tour. It feels like, you know, a lot of countries are involved. And there was, of course, that little bit of drama when it was revolving around XCC. We have to talk about it. I'm sorry, we have to. If you guys are not familiar with what happened, I think 18-year-old Chinese player, he made it to a qualifying match in the winner's side for top 8 at Tiger Uppercut. He was going to play, I believe, versus Shadow for a spot in that top 8, where he would have gone on to play versus Orsan. And because China wasn't in the approved list of countries to play in the Tekken World Tour, he was DQ'd from the tournament at that point. Now, my take on it was, at the time when I was streaming it, I was restreaming. I thought in my head, if you let him play up till that point, you got to just let him play the whole thing at that point, right? You have to either DQ him from the start or don't DQ him at all. And it was a little bit upsetting to see it. Now, the players that were at Tiger Uppercut, I think none of us were there, but maybe Kokoma, you went to Tiger Uppercut this year? No.
Yeah.
You were there. So a lot of players, yeah, a lot of players felt bad about XCC because he was apparently like really upset. He was crying and stuff, and it just sucks, man, seeing a talented player go that far. Higem also, I have to give a shout out to Higem. Higem, a very strong Yoshimitsu player from Russia, was also in a very similar position, and because he was from Russia, he was taken out. I want your guys' opinion on this. I'll start with you, Kokoma. What was happening in Tiger Uppercut at the time? Like, what happened with XCC, and what were players saying? Everybody.
Oh yeah, people. I just realized that the XCC didn't start his match like people top 8. It was top 12, right?
Yeah, top 12.
The winner side. So yeah. So just one more step. If he win, then he makes the top 8. But suddenly he heard that the Bandai Namco just banned him, and he just should stop his tournament at that time. So it was like just what the hell is happening? We all just confused, like, then why they didn't stop him at burst time? It was it's just unfair situation that was.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, it's either from the start or not. Now, obviously, what happened is at the end. If you guys, again, if you're not familiar with what happened, if you're not clued up, then Bandai Namco actually released a statement saying that that they made a couple of statements, right? There was one statement first, then they made another one, basically apologizing for what happened and to XCC, and saying that they're going to invite him to the LCQ. So we will be seeing him hopefully in the LCQ to compete there and try and make it into the finals. And China, I believe, is going to have their status. Their status will be now that they're allowed to enter the Tekken World Tour. And Harada also made a tweet saying that other countries who are currently not allowed are going to be also looked into to see their eligibility for the World Tour. So that's good. What do you guys think? That's good. That's good, right? That's something that I've been definitely asking to happen for a while.
Oh, for sure. I think sorry, Joker, just real quick. The worst part about that DQ to me was Yagami, because the match with XCC, is that his name? I'm getting all mixed up with the streamer. Him versus Yagami was right before the Shadow match, right?
Yeah.
So he beats Yagami, and then they DQ him. And this was like already in the top 16 part of the bracket. So it's a separate day of the tournament. So it's a separate day of the tournament, and you let him play a match. And then after he wins down, then you're like, okay, never mind. Now you have to stop playing. It was such an odd choice. Like, you could have stopped him right at the beginning of the top 16, right? But you let him beat Yagami first, and then that kind of ruins Yagami's chances. And then he doesn't get a trip to the LCQ, And then because of that, it also kind of spirals. And maybe John Ding would have made it if Shadow didn't make it in the top 8. So then John Ding didn't get a trip to the LCQ. It's just a really rough spot. So if anyone ever runs into this situation in the future, just DQ them early. Don't let them play, or don't let them get that far, because the further they go, the worse it gets.
Yeah, you have to DQ them early. Like, it has to be done at the start, and it's not even him. Edge was also put into losers by XCC, and Edge actually had an insane losers run. But and everyone was asking, who the hell put him in losers? He's playing so good today. It was XCC put him in losers, and he would have had to play versus Shadow. And XCC's already beaten Shadow in tournament this year offline. It was at the Tatakai Tuesday after Evo Japan. He played versus Yagami and Shadow, and he beat both of them and won the tournament. I was there commentating it. Like, I saw this kid. Like, he won the Tatakai Tuesday. Super stacked, by the way. Joey Fury, Yagami, Shadow, a bunch of the top players from Asia were there because it was just after Evo Japan. So this guy, I was like, who the hell is this guy, man? He won. And I started to talk to the Chinese community because I wanted to learn more. So, those guys were definitely pushing a lot to try and get XCC to go out there, and they were really upset with what happened. But now, I think, Bandai Namco made the right decision there with what they did. Joker, you wanted to say something as well, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, they should have DQ'd him from the start. Like, why can't he play for that long and get that far ahead? It's the same with, I think, the Russian players as well. Like, Strug and Higem travel a lot as well. They went to Thailand last year. Like, why, if they made like top 16 winners or top 8, like, what would have happened? Would they have just gotten DQ'd? Like, it's something that needs to be addressed and something that needs to be dealt with, accordingly, especially in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Let's one more thing that I want to bring up as well, just for the sake of the Tekken World Tour, because we're gonna because since we're talking about it, is the regions, right? So Pakistan has 5 players that have qualified for the Tekken World Tour this year. Arslan, Atif, Dejan, Frazeen, and Noman, right? Noman through the regionals. Unfortunately, though, there's a lot of Pakistanis that couldn't travel to many of the countries, and obviously that we know that, right? It's visa issues. But there's one region where we've Bandai Namco has looked to, and it's since 2019 actually, when we did the Dubai Master event Rocks and Roll, because that was also always a region where a lot of Pakistanis could go to. I went to Dubai this year. Even last year, Rip, me and you were there, right? How many Pakistanis got DQ'd from that tournament in Dubai? There were so many that were just not there. And I think there was only like Awais and Kashi Snake. Then this year, it was just the John. He got lucky somehow. The reason is because Dubai, I think, they've actually put a restriction on Pakistanis entering the country now. If you're under 30 or under 35 and you're not married or something, you're single, it's even worse. But it's like very, very difficult. I think even Arslan got his visa rejected. So no one got their visas, and only the John did, just by pure luck, and he managed to get second at that tournament, losing to Kokoma. But that's the only reason that this guy's qualified right now. But Dubai was always the region where that's where the Pakistanis can go to. That's the place for them. So just in case anyone from Bandai Namco is watching, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, that kind of area is looking a little bit difficult for them. Hopefully that things can change, or maybe talk to the organizers and see what the situation is for the visas for Pakistanis, because that is not a region for them. Also, Asia, Kokoma, I want to talk about this as well. There's not a lot of challenges in Asia, I feel like. I was talking about this to Namco, and if you look at the list, actually, even a lot of the Asian players were saying they need to have another challenger because it's just not enough challenges. What do you think, Kokoma?
Yeah, this year we didn't have much challenger or master event. I think it's just few. We have to go another like EU or America every bar
Yeah.
bar country. It's like it was super hard. Like schedule was even that the EWC schedule. I went like UK, Saudi Arabia, and directly Dubai.
Yeah.
It's like it was so hard schedule. Like I have to go. I don't have I didn't have a choice. I have to go just bar or whatever. I just have to go for point because there is no near tournament like Asian, just nothing for this year. So yeah, for Asian people we need some more tournament.
Yeah. No.
At least one master or one challenger, whatever.
No, I agree with you. I think that there's not enough tournaments in Asia now. I hope that there will be at least one more challenger, maybe a master. That would be really, really cool as well to have another master. I heard that there's this Evo Singapore that might be happening. Maybe that will be a master in the future as well. Who knows? 2026, man. That would be really cool. Okay, let's quickly talk about EWC before we close out this section, this topic. What do you guys think of the EWC, man? I mean, the impact that it's had on the on the Tekken community, on the fighting games in general. It's been crazy. We had gambling8 last year. Now we got the esports World Cup. Look, I still got the cards, bro. Look at that, man. I got my little notes and stuff on it as well. But yeah, esports World Cup. Joker, I'll start with you because you've gone to Saudi Arabia a lot. What's your opinion on the esports World Cup and its impact on our community, man?
I think it's definitely was needed for like Tekken and esports in general. Saudi's been doing a lot for the scene, and obviously forever grateful for what they're doing. I think it's definitely shaken a lot of things up. You could see like there's a lot of sponsors that have entered the scene now, and just like the competitions, it's just been higher than ever. Everyone's traveling now. Every tournament is super stacked. Challenges, dojos, like master events. Like it's just crazy, and I think it's only going to get better and better each year.
Rip, I mean, we've been there now a couple of times. It was gambling8 last year. Now it's a singles tournament. I mean, I personally, before I go to you, I prefer the team format, but I understand why they're doing singles now because you can kind of get in this kind of this. The teams are way more invested now, right? Because they can sponsor players and they can battle for that big prize pool. But what have you thought about the EWC and how it was this year and the impact on our scene?
Yeah, I think number one, the thing that Esports World Cup brings to the community is just money. It's a financial incentive for all the players that you don't really get from the tours by themselves in general, right? This is something that's existed forever. So it's cool that there's finally financial incentive for the players to compete and travel the world. And the the cooperation, even though it wasn't necessarily cooperation between the Tekken World Tour and the Esports World Cup, just the fact that the events overlap and become qualifiers in that way, I think that was the most important thing. I think that boosted the entire Tekken World Tour by itself. So I think that was huge. The actual event itself for Esports World Cup, obviously, it was a cool format. Getting down to those like longer first to fives towards the end was really fun to watch. They did have some hiccups too. I remember they split up the groups like halfway through. So on those days that they came back, everyone came in kind of cold. So there's a little hiccup there, but overall, I think the event was great.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately for Tekken, we'll talk about it, that they had to cut the days down for us. Maybe people don't know, but actually, normally it was meant to be a 4-day production, with 2 days of us rehearsing and stuff. But it was cut down to 1 day of kind of rehearsals and stuff and preparation, and 3 days of the tournament because they needed to use our stage for another production, I think the Esports Awards or something. So they just last minute kind of just cut our days by 2. So everything was a little bit rushed, but despite that, I think it was really good. Fee, what was your experience watching the Esports World Cup, man, and what do you think about it in general?
Yeah. So I feel like because so much of my content was focused on trying to just cover these tournaments, I have mixed feelings about it. I think that, like Rip said, it was really good that the qualifiers overlapped with the Tekken World Tour. It gave people clear points to focus on and kind of a clear, like, this is where your attention should be for this tournament. But we started hitting a point where literally every week was a high stakes tournament. Like, it was like there was no time to emotionally build up and like set up stories or get excited for this, because as soon as a grand final finished, sometimes there was even another concurrent tournament, or next week we're running it again. So it's like it felt like we were moving at like 200 miles an hour consistently with no kind of like ebb and flow. And towards the end, it started, I think people were getting kind of burnt out from their frustrations with the game. There wasn't like a clear vision of what tournaments to focus on. That was a bit challenging, I think, for the spectators. In terms of the actual World Cup, huge fan of the format, especially when we got to the first to fives. I found, and then the context you gave about the cutting down of the event was really helpful, because I found that I was trying to cover that event. I'm still trying to actually do my recaps of that event, and it was so hard just because of how dense the games were. I think day one was like 7 to 8 hours of just straight Tekken, and every match is like a high level match. So trying to summarize or cover that is like really, really difficult. And yeah, I think that it's unfortunate that the days were cut down. It's unfortunate that they stuffed so much into the tournament season. But it's a mixed bag, because more attention on Tekken, I also think, is a good thing. So I don't know how it can be improved in the future. Again, I'm really good at pointing out what I think is frustrating. I'm really bad at coming up with solutions. But I think that some way to build up like more of a seasonal approach, having a year season where there's just bam tournaments, is kind of hard. But I think giving people kind of like maybe like a few months, like we used to have like ICFC seasons, right? There was a natural build up to the finals, and it creates this smooth expectation curve. I almost wonder if TWT or EWC in the future can imitate that kind of style, where we have like seasonal qualifications or some kind of build up into that allows people to know when to really check in and know when to be like have like looser expectations. And I think that is healthier overall. But that's just my take as someone watching all of these tournaments as much as possible.
It's difficult though, right? Because the thing is, because it was tied in with the Tekken World Tour, you have these two big events, the DreamHacks. One of them's a dojo, one of them's a challenger, but it doesn't matter. To whoever is competing seriously in Tekken, they don't care if it's a master, challenger, or dojo. They're going to compete and qualify for EWC, right?
Yes.
They go there, and there's 8 spots to qualify. The issue is, because they were also tied in with the Tekken World Tour, you get what you were mentioning, that it's just constant, like, okay, just qualify, and it's just constant Tekken, right? Because it was such a tightly packed season. And you just got to look at someone like, Rangchu, for example, who said, I'd love to go to Dubai, but I'm tapped out, dude. Even CBM, he came to London, actually, to come chill with me for like a week, because he's like, bro, like, I'm so stressed from all the tournaments. I actually need a week to chill, bro, like, and do nothing. Kokoma, he was mentioning how going everywhere, and it's just so, it's too much travel. But it's difficult because the EWC doesn't have really control as to when the master events are going to happen, these big master events, and the Tekken World Tour doesn't really have much of a say on when the DreamHacks are going to happen. So it's just kind of, I don't know how, if there's going to be an opportunity to fix that. It might just have to be that we just get used to this kind of really high energy, short period of just like banging tournaments after tournaments. It's a bit of a scary one.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
Something, sorry, I should add was I didn't really like the way they announced the Evo Japan, because they announced that Evo Japan was a qualifier like a few days before. So how
Yeah.
were like the competitors meant to prepare for that? Because traveling to Japan is like a big, investment, and
Yeah.
you need to
Mhm.
prepare for it and whatnot. But for them to announce it like 3-4 days before or something was crazy.
Do you know what
man.
I'll say, bro? Even Arslan said this, and I don't care what anyone in the chat says, yeah? In the start of Tekken 8, I was at Evo Japan. I went final round with Ao, and I went final pixel on Rip's channel. You can see this shit. I choked so bad versus Kagemaru. So, but bro, everyone was playing like ass at that Evo Japan. I think it was only like
Yeah.
Low and I feel like Chikarin played really, really good, I think. But there was one other guy who was playing really good Tekken at the start of Tekken 8, and it's that bastard right there, that slick hair guy, Joker. He was playing so good. Even Arslan said, bro, if you went Evo Japan, you would have won that shit. I definitely think you
I'm
would.
pretty sure I DM'd you too, right? Didn't I tell you you have to go to
Yeah.
Evo Japan? Come on, man.
know
You
what-
could have been EWC and everything.
I
You know what
told
it
him.
is? I would have just got 50-50 by Tekken Master, let's be honest.
That's true.
But he got top 8, innit? He got top 8.
Yeah, you got to
He beat so many people. I was in his pool, bro. I didn't play him, but he beat everyone, like all the top Japanese and Korean guys. That's crazy. But yeah, nah, you would have definitely won that, bro. You missed out. But
But I think
yeah.
you bring up a point that is like something that was really relevant to spectators too. It's like so many tournaments became, why isn't this person here, or is this person here? There was so much like, because it was so taxing on the competitors, it was obviously unreasonable for someone to go to everything, and so people wouldn't know which ones to check in on, which ones to skip, which ones like who did they really want to watch. It was kind of everywhere. It was like, yeah, we know there's a tournament, but nobody knew how much to care about which one. Because for the competitors, every tournament they go to is important, right? But for the spectators, I think it was very, very challenging to keep up. Like I considered it my job to watch every tournament, and I couldn't watch every tournament. Like it was so difficult.
there was that
I'm
one week where
pretty
it was
sure-
DreamHack and Australia the same weekend, remember? As well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ripcon.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, I streamed a lot of the events this year, and it was really crazy. As a spectator, you never really knew who was gonna be there, and just like
Yeah.
Fee was saying, and so it was very difficult to keep track of like this one's gonna be awesome, this one's another whatever one. It's really difficult to tell, right? But I think that it's actually like a good problem to have, and
Yeah.
like, back to what Spag was saying, we don't really control the schedule of these tournament organizers who are putting on these events, right? So these events are just going to happen, and it just seems to work out that the end of the year to like March, there's not really a whole lot of stuff going on. So we kind of have this half-year cycle, and Tekken 8 obviously came out in January. Tour didn't kick off, I think, until April, and then it ended the first week of October. So
Right.
we had literally like a 6-month season for everything to be fit into. And then since then, this last month and going on for the next few months, there's not really anything going on. You have the finals
Yeah.
coming up, but very little outside of that, right? So
It's very
you know,
cold. Yeah.
hopefully TOs can come up with a schedule where it's more year-round,
Yes.
but that just does not exist right now. So we have to have this kind of compact, intense format for everybody, spectators and players alike.
Yeah, we've gone back to finals being in December now. And for the past couple of years, I know Joker, you hadn't basically qualified or been around maybe when you saw that the finals actually yours used to be in December. So you're like, oh, it's going to probably be in February, right? But it's like, no, I was like, I think we're going back to December now. And it was announced to be the beginning of December. That's what we're kind of going back to now. Just like this kind of start of around late March, April to December Tekken World Tour. Kokoma, what did you think, man? EWC, you qualified for EWC. What did you think of the tournament, and what do you think of EWC in general?
People we talk about the 1-day cut, right?
Mm.
It was pretty sad for me because I got the flight problem again that time.
Oh yeah,
Maybe you guys remember.
he
And
always has
I
flight
just-
problems, bro.
Mhm.
I just landed in morning time and directly had to go the video day. It was like I didn't have a break time.
Yeah.
I just got the video schedule, and after next day the tournament day. Shit. It was like, even that was after UK tournament that
Versus fighting.
fighting.
Yeah.
I was really tired, but I didn't have a time to rest. It's just shit.
It's true.
Why-
Yeah, it's true. I see.
I just feel like why they cut the one day. What the hell is happening now?
Yeah.
It was just hell, but other thing like whole talk about the whole tournament.
Mm.
Only thing I can say is honestly, EWC is better than official tournament TWT
Wow. Wow.
because of the money and or system. Yeah, honestly,
Yeah. He's a very honest
I'm
guy,
really
Kokoma.
glad.
He's a very honest guy. Yeah, go on.
I'm super glad that EWC EWC opened the Tekken tournament.
Mm.
Mm.
Are you saying that you want more money for Tekken World Tour? You think the Tekken World Tour should have more prize pool?
Yeah, of course. They should do that. It's the official tournament is actually less than EWC even for now. It's pretty weird.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is it weird? Like I think Street Fighter has a pretty big prize pool this time, right? I mean, it's had what 2 million in the past. Is it 2 million
A
now?
million and a million again.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you make of that, Rip? Like prize pool is 300,000, I think, for this Tekken World Tour finals.
Tekken World Tour this year is 300,000. For me, the question is this the most Tekken World Tour has ever been?
Yes, it was
It is,
260,000 in 2019 because of the 100,000 from Astro.
they're still going up, they're still improving. But I think a lot of people think that Capcom is kind of crazy. I think after that first year, when it was $1 million, people were like, oh, that's the marketing budget. They're trying to sell copies of the game as soon as it launches. There's no way they're gonna do that for the second year. And then Capcom was like, yo, it was a lot this year. Surprise, we're doing it again. And I was like, damn, right? And you look at the numbers now, and I was actually looking at all the Steam charts and all. And Street Fighter 6 is still doing really well. Like average viewership average player base on Steam is like 20K per month, and like Tekken 8 has dropped down to like below 10K now.
Oh boy.
So it's and that game came out like a full year before, right? So they've kind of held on to their numbers pretty well. And I don't know if it's prize pool related or what, but the game is doing very well in general.
Yeah, that puts us greatly onto the next topic actually. About the drop in numbers and stuff. But before we go to that next topic, guys, one more little thing I want to talk about when it comes to this, and I want you guys' opinion because it has been a topic. Everyone's been talking about it. Also, a lot of people have been talking about it. First to 3 versus first to 2. Now, in Europe, before the Tekken World Tour started, it was in Europe we used to do a lot of round robin tournament pools. It was round robin, and then we kind of started with first to 3 for the bracket from like top 32. And that was very common for us. That was normal. Then Tekken 7 comes out and we go to that Evo type of format, which is just first to 2 the whole way until we get to top 3, then it's first to 3. And we've been doing that for years now. But talking to especially one guy, he's not here right now, but Arslan, was talking a lot about, look, we need first to 3. We need first to 3. Everyone wants. I like how he has to speak for other people as well. Like we all want first to 3. Everybody wants it. I'm like, who did you speak to? He's like, trust me, everyone wants it, man. I'm like, okay. First to 3. I think personally, I wouldn't mind a top 8 being first to 3. Like, especially in this game, which is quicker, because top 8s in this game last for about 2.5 hours. In Tekken 7, it lasted for about 3 hours plus, right? So it is a quicker game. I'll ask you, Kokoma, first. Would you want to see top 8 first to 3, top 16 first to 3? What do you want? Or do you keep it same as now, first to 2?
For tournament time,
Yeah.
I guess top 8 is better. Like before top 16 or top 24, first to 3, it's gonna be long time, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, the perfect timing is top 8, I guess.
But do you want top 8 to be first to 3, or do you want to keep first to 2?
Top first to 3,
First to 3.
definitely first to 3.
Wow. Okay. Joke.
In this game, first to 2 is it's too hard. Like you guys know that this game is honestly super insane. No one knows what's gonna be happened in that day. Like,
Yeah.
game is
We'll talk about that, Kokoma, soon. We're gonna get Kokoma's opinion on the game. Joker, first to 3, top 8. Do you agree with that, or would you want first to 2, keep it as is?
I think first to 3 is funny you mentioned that because I spoke to Arslan about it in Mexico, and like we said, this game has to be first to three because literally you could lose to Tom, Dick, or Harry with Yoshi or like Nina or like Dragonov, and you'll have to hold it. You could travel how many miles and you could just lose to anyone playing any of these characters. Like it is what it is. As a competitor, you have to firm it, but it's like it has to be first to three because I don't think it takes that much time as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
first to
Rip,
three,
Rip, from
please.
your experience as well, running tournaments and stuff. Like, what do you think? First to three for Tekken 8?
I completely understand where all the competitors are coming from, wanting it to be first to three with this game, etc. But I think it's too late. I think that with season 2 around the corner, you don't know how they're going to change the game yet. So right now the tournaments are really fast. They are faster, right? So we could have done first to three top eights and been the same amount of time taken as Tekken 7. But if season 2 comes around and things are slower, and they change the system up a little bit, then all of a sudden first to three is going to really drag. And that's kind of what we did with Tag 2, and it really, in my opinion, hurt the spectator experience because the matches just took too long and it's like a boring time. It just made people want to not watch Tekken when the top eights were on. So I'm always weary about Tekken 8, or sorry, first to three, and especially now with Tekken 8. Like I think this year we could have done it. It would have worked out, but in the future, I don't know if it's the right decision to make or not, depending on how the game changes.
Fee, what do you think?
I share the same opinion. If I were still competing a lot, I would 100% be saying first to three, even if I'm not making top 8. But like, I think it makes more sense as a competitor, like 100%.
Yeah.
I also am, for better or worse, exposed to so many spectators, and it is. I would also completely agree that when you make it first to three, you are testing the spectators' patience in a lot of ways. They do not really, I think, have just the same fine lens that literally career professionals do in this game. So you put two Dragonovs on the same screen, people are already frustrated before any gameplay happens, right? Put in Yoshimitsu where people have to play slower, I could easily see people getting frustrated again. So I think that I'm a huge fan of first to three, again, for competitive integrity, for getting these really nice consistent results, for seeing better Tekken, right? As a Tekken fan, I like seeing the really developed Tekken when players really understand each other, you get these mind games, things like that. I think first to three lends itself to that. I feel like we are really challenging spectators if we go to first to three. And again, like Rip said, if we go to a season 2 that's slower, maybe competitors can find consistency in first to two, and we sidestep that problem altogether. So I think it is a season 2 angle. I agree with Rip on that.
True. Yeah. I mean, we don't know how the game's gonna change, if significantly at all in season 2, to make it less kind of volatile. But we tried the first to three the whole way with Red Bull Golden Letters. So that was obviously, if you guys tuned into Red Bull Golden Letters, most of us here were there. And that whole tournament from pools to the grand finals were all first to three. But I wonder if the Golden Letters rule also made it a little bit more interesting to watch, right? And less stale.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think having that little mini objective and the tension that added gives people a focal point versus like you have people like go 1-1 and then it's like that's like probably the longest situation that can come after attention wise, right? Obviously comebacks are really, really cool too, but yeah, I think it's an attention span thing, and the golden letters rule was probably huge for getting people to stay locked in, like looking at micro interactions, looking at each round really carefully.
Right. So Joker and Kokoma both saying, look, give me first to three, Rip, BDX. You guys are saying, well, we don't know. Let's wait until season 2 and see how it plays out there, how the game changes. Well, let's talk about the game now, ladies and lads. Here we go. We're going to move on to the next topic, and it's a topic you guys have all been waiting for: the state of Tekken 8. And actually, for this one, I'm gonna start with FDX because you know why? Because a lot of people
because he's a shill.
Yeah, listen, I want to ask: have you taken money? Are you paid off by the authorities for your opinions? That's what people have been saying, bro. You defend yourself, man.
The only time I've ever been paid by Bandai Namco was fucking winning, but also no, the one Evo appearance with the Chipotle collab. That was the only time I've ever been paid, and it was because I was appearing on stage. But for the amount of heat I'm getting, I should be paid. Give me a check for that. Like, no, I don't get paid for any of my opinions. I have this belief that like we in the community play this game a lot, we talk about this game a lot, and it's a lot more fun if people are constructive and just having a good time. I think that I could make so much more money on ad revenue and attention and stuff like that by just shit talking the game. But the fact that but that's like destroying like my own home, you know what I mean? It's like I want to show up every day and have fun interacting with people. So that is the core reason why I choose to look at the positives, choose to give benefit of the doubt. It's not because I'm getting money, it's because it makes my time day to day more enjoyable, really.
Yeah, okay, so having said that, what do you think of the state of the game right now? I mean, I've been hearing certain things like, oh, he's not playing the game as much as he was before. He's kind of been saying some stuff. He's not feeling so good about it. What do you think right now? Because I'll be honest with you, a lot of the positivity has been coming from people that I didn't expect to come from. And now he's not here to defend himself. He might be watching Speed Kicks. I did not think he'd like this kind of game, but he loves this shit, man. The fact that he doesn't love the guy who I saw backdash more than anyone on the planet in Tekken Tag 2 says he doesn't like Tekken 7. Where you literally had people backdashing on infinite stages, like, but I guess he's a changed man in it. Like, he's a changed man. Speed Kicks. I'll get him on for the next one so he can talk. But Speed Kicks, he says he loves this game, and a lot of the people in NA were kind of following that, yourself as well. But what do you think currently right now where we are at the moment with Tekken 8, and what's your opinion?
I think the most valid complaint about Tekken 8 is that we are incentivized to be aggressive. Outside of the few exceptions, like if you're piloting like a character with strong defensive options, like a Yoshimitsu, a Jun, an Asuka, you are pretty much forced to play aggressively if you want to succeed. And I think that is a very valid complaint in a series that heavily rewarded different styles. Like you could think of like Tekken 5 DR Brian, defensive character had to use movement to be aggressive. I would love to see that kind of style come back, where it's still a heavily interactive game where you're constantly making decisions actively in like the threat range of each other, but having a bit more expression with a defensive character using their movement more, and aggressive character still using hitboxes, but having to account for more sidesteps and backdashes would be cool. So I think that is the most valid complaint, and the changes they're making give me hope, right? When you think of like Lydia and Heihachi, insane mix, insane kind of oppression, but very clear neutral weaknesses with their tracking, for example. So it creates this like knife's edge gameplay where if you're a sharp defender and you can call out the right things with your movement, the other character feels useless. But if the other player is better than you at that, they skill gap you, then you feel like you're getting run over. And I kind of like that. I kind of like the idea of, and also the Dragunov nerf, back 4-3. Now the whole string is way more steppable. I think that regardless if people prefer aggressiveness or defensiveness, buffing movement, sidesteps, backdashes seems to create more room for more people to play in the ways that they want to. So that is probably my like mini wish list, is like keep it up with giving us sidestep counterplay, giving us backdash counterplay. And as that levels out across the cast and there's not characters who can really just do whatever they want, we might see a lot less frustration. Maybe. People will always find something to complain about, but I think it'd be cool.
Joker, what do you think right now then with the state of Tekken 8, man? I'll read a tweet out to you actually by our good friend, Mr. Arslan Ash, Mr. 5-time Evo champion. What did he say? He said, the state of Tekken, I'm not going to do it in his voice, by the way. The state of Tekken is extremely...
Wait, you got to do it in his voice, please.
No, I can't. He gets so mad now. He gets so mad when I do it in his voice. He goes, I don't talk like that anymore. I go...
He can get mad at me about it.
No, I can't do it.
It's like, it's authenticity. We value so much authenticity in this community, you know?
I can't do it, bro. I can't. No. The chat's trying to get me to do it. I'm not doing it.
Come on.
Just the last sentence. Just the last sentence.
No. Bro, he didn't get so mad. He got so mad when I did last time. He was like, I don't talk like that anymore, bro. That was in the past.
Well, okay, yeah, that's even better that he doesn't talk like that. Give us his old voice.
I'm not doing it. This guy Rip always trying to get me in trouble. I'll tell him shall I tell him what he did to me at Gamers 8? He doesn't even remember himself.
I don't know.
Do you remember what this guy? Actually, I'll tell you what this guy did. I was on hosting, my first time hosting, right? I'm hosting, right? This said Gamers 8 before, not Esports World Cup. And the organizers told us, yeah, you guys cannot say the word losers bracket. You can't say it. You're not allowed to say it. It's very bad. If you do, you're going to get in big trouble. You have to say lower bracket. And then Rip was on the analysis desk with me, and he was like, hey, Spag, losers. He just kept saying he kept saying it to me. And I was like, Rip, I'm not listening. I'm not going to say the word. He kept on saying it. And then...
I would never.
and then, bro, he almost said it. I didn't say it. I remember you said losers. You said, what did you say? Losers?
Look, man. I don't know what happened. It wasn't me. That's all I know.
That shit was
Couldn't
funny.
have been.
Nah, but yeah, I'm not calling for it again, Rip.
No problem, man. You got it, dude. Arson voice. No one forgot. Everyone's still waiting for it.
The tweet was, The state of Tekken is extremely volatile right now. The more I play the game, the more depressed I become. It feels like the game has devolved into a single launcher followed by 50-50 mix-ups, and that's it. The game needs systematic changes more than balance changes, in my opinion. Joker.
I agree with that.
Yeah, honestly,
Okay.
I agree with that 100%. The state right now is an absolute mess. And it's not just the state, it's all these guys that are just downplaying their mains. I mean, they were dog shit in Tekken 7 and somehow they're good in Tekken 8. It's like, it's crazy. But
Like
Like you,
said,
Joker.
I have a long list, man. I could read out the list on my second monitor.
Yeah, do
but,
it.
Anyways,
Go for
let
it.
me carry on talking. There's so many things we need to talk about. Like what Arsalan said, it's not just balance, it's systematic changes. This is why I'm scared of season 2. I think they need more time. I think they're starting to understand what needs to be nerfed, but again, there's so much more things they need to look at. Like, what if, they add new mechanics? This is something I spoke to FDX about. What if they add new mechanics in season 2, which is possible? They did that in Tekken 7. Like, what would happen? Like
wall bounce.
so many, world bands potentially. Like, so much shit needs to change. It's not like I agree with Ursula. I think the more you play, the more you understand. Now I have like 1,000 plus hours now, and I've only just started to realize like this game is very it's mentally taxing, it's exhausting. There's so many canned mix-up situations where like you're forced to guess, but I feel like against certain characters it's not that bad. But when you look at the top tiers, and a lot of characters are top tier, the game's a mess. And I don't think it's like it's ready for competitive, in my opinion.
Really? You got that far saying it's not ready for competitive?
It's ready, but I don't think to the extent of other games were, in my opinion, in other
I'm
Tekken.
sorry.
But
May I jump in for a split second? You mentioned like some characters it doesn't feel like a problem. Do you have like an example, not for me to call you out, but just for me to illustrate a point I wanted to make?
Heihachi, Lydia, I think characters like that are not too bad. Honestly,
Yeah.
like I think there's so many other characters as well. Which other characters are there?
Horang.
Horang, I'm not scared of Horang. I
Yeah.
think Kazuya as well. Like a character like Kazuya, it's all about the pilot. I like things like that. If a character
Yeah.
is strong, at least it's locked behind execution or something. But when there's characters like Yoshi running around and
Yeah.
Nina and Dragunov, where I can give my nephew 5 hours to play on my PC and he'll start beating these top players. Like it's not.
So would you agree with the idea that the reason why like Lydia, Heihachi, Kazuya, and other like characters tend to be less scary is because you have more defensive counterplay, right? You have like sidesteps, you have backdashes, you have like option select defense. Like, is that
Yeah.
why you think it's a bit easier?
This is something I spoke to like Arslan about and the Pakistani players, especially Atif as well. And I said to him, like, I think them buffing specifically backdash and sidestep would fix so many problems, especially backdash. Now, I understand the main direction of the game is aggressiveness, there's chip damage, etc., etc. But I think like sidestep and backdash movement would change so many things. And also, something that Rangchu spoke about was the plus frames on heat engages and whatnot. That's also something that needs to be looked at. Again, another thing that needs to be looked at is heat smashes on block and on hit. Why are you forced to guess after Link's heat smash on hit? It makes no
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lost 17.
It's crazy.
Yeah, like there's so many other characters I could talk about. Like it's insane. But you know what? I'm optimistic. I pray Bandai Namco listens to us. I'm sure they will. Tekken 7 was great, although 2Ds existed, but 2Ds don't exist now. I'm optimistic. I'm still gonna play the game. I love Tekken. Let's keep grinding.
I'm optimistic too, but I do want to break down what you think the issues are, Joker. You mentioned a couple of them, but we'll get back to you. Rip, what's your take on the game? Of course, you've been competing in this game for a long time now, from multiple Tekkens. You've seen Tekken 6, even before that, Tekken Tag 2, Tekken 7, Tekken 8 now. Is the game more volatile now than it's been before competitively? And what do you think it's volatile and like Joker said, maybe not so ready for a world tour at the moment?
It's definitely volatile, but I think that's mainly because we're coming off Tekken 7, which had so many years to kind of refine itself, right? So I think players like me who have been around for like a decade plus, we've seen all these games come out, and that first year is always brutal. It's always really, really rough. So this is the first time they've put it straight to console, right? Like if I think back to Tekken 5, when that first came out, that first year was disgusting. Like that game was actually not ready for competitive, you know? Like Tekken 8 is much closer to competitive than Tekken 5 ever was, right? And that's why you end up getting the Dark Resurrection. Tekken 6.0, same kind of issue there. 7.0 was just a weird small game. It wasn't even really filled out yet, it felt like. But, you know, when you look at Tekken 7, people, they talk about it in terms of like, I don't want to go back to Tekken 7. Tekken 7 was whack and this and that. But Tekken 7 had like 7 versions within that one game, right? Like I like Tekken 7 Season 2, right? After that, I felt like things just started slowly falling off, you know? And I feel like that just kind of continued into Tekken 8. So looking ahead into Tekken 8 Season 2, I'm a little concerned, you know, but FDX, he brought up his great point about you know, allowing basically player diversity through the play style of the characters. And I thought about it when he was describing it, and back in like Tekken 5, Tekken 6, James and I used to play martial law together. We were both top law players in Tekken 6, but we played it completely different. I was a complete turtle style. I wanted to just turtle out. I wanted to use defensive sidesteps, counter magic fours, you know, and use keep out moves to keep people away from me. James is the complete opposite, complete aggression. And you don't really get that kind of distinction in player styles of the same characters anymore because the aggression is kind of forced on you now. So that was a really interesting point that I really liked, and I do wish that Tekken 8 had more of that.
Something I should add with what Rip said as well. Another reason why I'm optimistic is because they're still regularly patching out the game. Now they could just leave it like they do the Tekken 5 and stuff, but they're not, you know. And I think
Mhm.
I like the way the direction that Tekken 7 went. Like they were listening to community feedback. The direction and stuff in general was good, although there were some problems. Again, I don't think we should like the person I am, I don't like to compare the games. I like to accept every Tekken game the way it is, but I'm still like very optimistic. Like with the patches that have come out for Tekken 8 and the direction they're taking, I think eventually it will get better. And of course, this is like the arcade version. It's the first year. Everyone knew it was going to be crazy, but it could have been so much worse, you know.
Could have
So
been
I
way
want to
worse.
yeah,
I
that's
want to
something.
echo Joker's opinion there for sure. Like I think the way that the team has talked about how they're looking at defense, how they're looking at reducing like the defense patch. We want to remove oppressive situations. They show directionally that they're going in the right way, even if they whiff in some explicit examples. They are doing what they say they will. Like they say they'll minimally patch, so they minimally patch. They will look at this defensive, like making it more fun being the one on the receiving end of these horrible mix-ups. They are expressing and moving in that direction, even if it's slower than like modern gamers want, right?
Yeah. But we'll break down again like what it is specifically because again, if you're optimistic about change, you have to outline what change you want, or you have to outline what the problems are, right? And I think everyone here might have a different idea of what the actual problems are. We'll talk about that. But before, we need to go to Kokoma, because Kokoma, you've been very outspoken about what you feel about this game. You said, I remember I went to your stream one time and you said, I can't play this game too long. It's too difficult for my mind to play for too long. It's stressful. You said, everything is 50-50. Shibai, tired of doing 50-50 the whole time. He goes, I feel like we're on Las Vegas first floor. What do you think, Kokoma? Tell us. Talk to us about what you think of Tekken 8.
Okay. Yeah, I actually I have two topic for this conversation.
Okay.
First thing is of course about the game, but second one was actually the online system, the netcode.
Mhm.
But yeah, let's go the first topic.
Yeah.
This game first time when they show the Tekken 8 comes out, the company said the game will be easy for noob and middle player and hard for professional player. And we just realized that way, the only way is actually just gambling for now. We are just doing the whole super much plus frame and just dog or sit 50-50 and 50-50. If you hit, I'm gonna win. If I fail, then okay, I'm gonna go back home. It's the game is like just throw my 50-50. That's all. Or even all character is like that. It's like even I don't I'm really confused that there is the really super top tier character, because in Burst 2, every character are really super typical 50-50. They are just doing that whole in game. It's the system is actually problem. The characters' all moveset is just for 50-50. They should change this thing first.
Mm.
It's all characters' concept is, I feel like, same.
That they all force you
Is
into
it only
50-50s.
me?
Yeah, so I mean, okay, so yeah, what do you guys think? I think, okay, if we break it down, I want to ask you, Kagoma, do you think that Feng is a character that can do that to you as well?
No.
So Joker says no, not
Oh.
50-50, but you play Feng. You said every character is 50-50. Is Feng 50-50 character as well?
No. No.
No.
Okay, Feng's not.
Honestly,
Feng's not, guys.
I don't think
Oh
he
my
is.
god,
Like,
here we
people-
go, guys.
Listen.
You guys know that. You guys know that.
People are
You
gonna think
guys
we're
know that
downplaying and stuff. But like,
every time.
What was the
every time,
downplaying main character thing about? Yeah.
I want to say this. Like, before I say it, yeah, or okay, I'm gonna change my word. Almost character. Almost.
yeah, that's what I said to. That's what I said earlier as well. It's not all characters. I feel like it's just a few like not a few characters, but quite a lot of characters that just like force you to non-stop. Like Shaheen, for instance, they gave him his new punish, his 12 frame punish, which knocks you down for some reason, and then you're forced to guess like what was the reason for that? Like why? I don't understand. And then there's like other characters, of course, like Dragonov is a perfect example. I like the QCF4 nerf, but it's still a mix-up. Like why am I still forced to guess? I don't get it. It's weird, man. It's weird.
Yeah, QCF4 kind of might have been a buff in some ways as well.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
because it leaves you standing. Fee, what do you think of that, man? 50-50. Every character is 50-50 according to Kokoma. Not every character, but most of the characters are 50-50, and it's a gambling game where you force. If you hit first, you win. If I hit, then I win. What do you make of that?
Steve Fox.
Yeah, Steve Fox, yeah.
But also, no, I think so. I think it's a common theme. I hesitate to call it a systemic issue. So that was where I had like this is where like my thought I think deviated from Arslan's. And again, I want to make it clear that he plays the game 50 billion times more than I do. He has more understanding, more knowledge. So my view is way closer to a casual or like a competitive casual's view than literally 5-time EVO champion. I want to make that clear. But I think that it's a character specific issue in many ways. Like we have two Feng players saying Feng doesn't do it that much, right? Compared to say Dragonov, compared to say like Eddie, like literally straight 50-50 characters.
Player.
I think it's a character design issue and kind of the like yes, they have this overarching philosophy of aggressiveness that is changing over time, but you see it manifest in characters in different ways, right? So like I think I actually really I'm not looking for Steve buffs in particular. I think Steve's in a good place because here I'm breaking the downplay rule, but it's because I think he fits his theme very well, and I think there's a lot of ways to play him. You can choose to play him more defensively. You can choose to play him like really aggressively, weaving around, trying to be all tricky, and it people have made it work. I think that we see tons of problem situations with characters. The Shaheen example is perfect. Why in the world does he have that? Right? Bling, heat smash on hit. I think there's tons of situations that have the characters have been given, but I don't think there's a blanket change you can make, like say like nerf heat in this way for everybody and it fixes everything. Like for example, the defense patch where we gave people the ability to sidestep heat burst feels like it makes Dragonov stronger. Like you can't contain this guy. It's even harder to contain this guy. I think that sweeping changes are going to make it more difficult to fix the issue rather than looking at each character, looking at what horrendous nonsense do they have individually, and then kind of going from there. I think it's very dangerous to try to apply a wide fix to the whole system.
Yeah.
I think I agree with what FDX is saying to some extent, but I also think you need to really look at what some characters can do in heat, and then you need to see how much consumption they take. You have Kuma shitting out electrics for like 20 seconds. You have like Nina doing crazy shit. Like it's crazy. I feel like some characters can do too much and other characters they can barely do much, you know? Like, me and
Mhm.
Kokoma have to play with, what, back one and shoulder. Amazing. 2+4 got
There we go.
nerfed to the ground. It's reactable. Like, you can power crush it, you can jab it. Like, I don't even need to say anything else.
I know, man. Steve only gets 2 clinches. Like he should get like way more than.
What do you
But no,
think, Rip?
I
You
agree.
you
Yeah.
use a top 5 character according to some people, man, and you're listening this. What do you think?
This conversation sucks. Like I'm just listening to everybody downplay their character. Look, the idea of it being a system-wide issue or not for Tekken 8, I think I tend to agree more with Arslan on this one. I feel like the forced heat system, it kind of forced the game in that direction, right? So you have like all these safe heat engagers, that's like it just forced the game in that direction where you didn't really have that much of a benefit from those moves in the past, even if they were safe, right? So now the benefit of doing those is like way higher than before. I had a really good session just a few days ago with Kane and MYK, and it's honestly was the most fun I've had with Tekken 8 in months. But in that session, I realized at the start of the life bar, I'm having fun. As soon as we both get down to about 30% of the life bar remaining, that's when I'm like, oh, I don't want to play anymore. Because like I just know some shit's gonna happen. There's gonna be some heat, this, that, 50-50 wall, heat dash chip. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to deal with all this, right? Like, and that's just what you're left with. And so that happens every single round, right? You can't really escape it. It's even if it's not every round, it's like, okay, 75% or whatever. It's a really high percentage of rounds that you end up in that situation. So
Yeah.
I think it's more of a system issue more than like, and the game obviously needs individual balancing, like Fee was talking about. There's a lot of situations that are forced from all the characters, but I feel like that's the direction they want this game to go, and I feel like that is their intention. So for them to break that intention and go a completely different direction is almost impossible at this point.
So yeah, go on. Rip.
Sorry, something I should add as well, because it's also crazy to me as well, is like when certain characters pop heat, they also get access to their installs, like Claudio and Brian as well. I think that is, to
Brian.
me, crazy. Like, why would
Yeah.
they get access to that when they already have heat? Like, why would you give them that as well? Like, it doesn't make sense. I feel like some characters have like no weaknesses, more or less, and then there's other characters that are really struggling, you know?
There's a big disparity in the power in the power
Yeah.
between certain characters. Kokoma, tell me then, do you think that the problem is the heat system, or is it just the individual moves of the characters, like the moves of Dragunov move, Nina move, or is it heat in general? What's the problem? Why is it 50-50 game? Is it heat or is it just character strength?
Hit system is not that big problem, I think. All characters' moveset is too much. Like people Joka said, Brian. For me, like even hidden characters like Paul, yeah, all sliding characters, and like all characters moveset. Yeah, moveset.
I don't think it's just moveset though. I think it's the system as well. Honestly, like I think the heat system needs to be looked at. Like heat engages, for instance, like it's 2+. I think it's way 2+. Like
About that, also I agree that but
yeah, I think it's
it's
both the system mechanics and the character balance.
Okay, let me
One-
let me quickly give some specific examples, and I want to hear what you guys think about this. Okay, Power Crush heat engages. Okay, Power Crush heat engages.
Get
Okay,
outta here.
so there are moves which are like -14, -19 that in heat. Also when you have heat, they become plus. So Nina's blonde bomb -14, but when you have heat, it becomes heat dash +5. But Power Crush heat engages in general as well. I guess Azucena's forward 1+2, Victor's and Nina's and stuff. What do we make of the Power Crush heat engages? Do you guys think that's a problem, that it should be in the game, or that these Power Crush heat engages should not exist? I mean, what do you guys actually think? Kokoma, what do you think? Power Crush heat engager.
Power Crush engager should be gone.
Mm.
It's just insane. It doesn't make sense. Power Crash should be just Power Crash.
Yeah,
That's all.
I see. Yeah, Joker.
Get it out the game. It's actually it's bro. Like I'm just gonna be honest. It's shocking that it's even in the game. And I see someone complain about Feng's high power crush, bro. What rank are you like?
Oh, the rank shaming, bro! Yo, the rank shaming,
I think we have to bring
The
rank
real
shaming
Joker
back
shows
on
up.
this channel. I
No,
agree.
listen. How's you talking
I
about
agree.
Feng's power crush when this character's like, I don't know, like Azucena, Victor's power crush, and like Nina's.
Oh my
and stuff.
God.
Get out of here, man.
What
But
do you
yeah,
think?
I
Sorry.
don't like power crush he engages.
Okay, you say get them at the game.
Yeah.
Rip.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Law has one. It's forward three. It's fun. I can just do it, and I feel like as a casual, that's what they want, you know. So
Mm.
I enjoy it. I think it's completely stupid, but I enjoy the stupidity in it, you know. So for the casual me who doesn't compete as much anymore, I like it, you know. But like, do I want to play against them? Hell no, you know. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Okay, yeah. You want to use it. You like dishing it out, but you don't like taking it. It's one of them situations.
Yeah.
Fair enough, man. Yo, VDX. What do you make
Yeah,
of Power Crush Heat Engage? I saw your
they're
reaction at the
su-
start. I feel like I know what you're gonna say, but
They're
yeah.
super dumb. I also like it. Like when I pick Victor and I can stop thinking and just power crush. I love that. But I think one change that could bring them in alignment is one issue I was talking to Speed about was that everything you do that heat dashes becomes +5, right?
Yeah.
So like Steve doing running 2 heat dash goes from +6 to +5. Nina doing a -14 blonde bomb becomes +5. That seems a little weird, right? Like, what if it were a flat number? So like you get the power crush heat engage or heat dash or whatever, but it becomes safe, but you don't keep your advantage, right? Or so Victor throws it out for the 50 millionth time, but he's not +5. He's now just he got to try it. Cool, right? I kind of think if they are going to keep it in the game, that is an adjustment to the system that would help. And I get why they made everything +5 because for newer players, it makes it easier. I know every time there's a heat dash, I know it's +5.
Mm.
But if you're the kind of nerd that's going to learn frame data in the first place, maybe it's going to be okay to make the adjustment from, okay, it's not +5, it's my turn, right?
Right.
Again, depending on
Yep.
the move. I think it's not that big of a jump for the kind of player that Tekken attracts, and it will bring it a lot more into competitive alignment and allow noobs to still have fun with these ridiculously insanely good moves. And then like they made tracking changes to it too. I think that's a great adjustment already. But they are undoubtedly one of the strongest things in Tekken 8, and something has to be done.
Yeah, I actually wrote down that he engages, especially for those unsafe moves. They shouldn't be plus, you know. And I actually agree with you in a way. Like, does it matter to a casual if different heat engages after heat dash are different frame data? Like, will my friend down the road give a damn that is plus like -6 instead of, you know, I don't know, 0 on block? Like, you don't give a damn, right? But
I
for
think
the
it's super complicated.
you think it's gonna be complicated too much?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
complicated too.
Yeah. That if you change all the frame data for all the different heat engages, I mean, it could be. It
Like,
could be. Yeah.
It's a standard rule. It's similar to the way Street Fighter 6 does it.
Yeah.
But like it is definitely something to think about more, right? Like it sort of raises the skill ceiling of the game.
Mm.
It helps differentiate and separate players in that way, which is a good thing for a competitive play, right? But it's a real big question about casual market or a competitive market and what your focus is as a
Right.
balanced team, I think.
No, I get you, because even for me, like, I still get mixed up when they had the low heat smashes. I keep forgetting which ones are -14 and which ones are -15, right?
Mhm.
So I get what you're saying. But yeah, maybe making them, like PDX said, not plus, so you get to keep your turn, but maybe like something like -2, or, you know, they become safe. Maybe, you know, like instead of -14, I think it's fair that if Nina tries to throw the blonde bomb, then it goes from -14 to something that's like not as safe. But another thing with heat, because let's talk about heat, right? I want to know your opinion. So we've talked about heat engages, and most of us are here saying very much like, you know, these are kind of stupid and they shouldn't maybe be in the game as they are right now. What about like enhanced moves? This is something that I think is really we need to talk about as well. Joker, you kind of touched upon it. Bear Electric. Look at Panda. Look at Kuma. One is a lot stronger than the other. One a lot more annoying. Way more volatile. It's because the heat system for that character, the moves that character has, are very crazy. But you look at Panda, and it's a lot easier to play against that character. So it's a good example of what you could do to Kuma to make him a lot less annoying to play against, right? Is to nerf the heat system of that move, that character. But you look at Law, for example, and I want to talk about Law, because I'm sorry, Rip, yeah, because, you know,
It's okay.
I know Gosen's in here, and he agrees as well. It's kind of back 1-2-2, 1-1-1, up forward 3. These moves all become launches. He gets like a 5 million hits in the combo. Gosen's
awesome.
laughing. It looks cool, right?
Yeah.
But 14 frame counter hit confirmable launcher, 1-1-1. Like, I don't understand why some moves are launches in heat and why others are not, and they just give you a free hit. What do you guys think about that? Joker, I'll start with you. what do you think about the enhanced moves and like heat dash launches as well?
They have to tone it down across like the whole roster, man. Like Dragunov's back 4-3. We can talk about like the tracking of Steve's heat smash, which hits you from the other side of the country. Like there's just so many problems. I think
Steve
that,
players, bro.
like they just need to look at everything. They need to change everything. Like it's crazy,
What's
man.
everything,
Honestly,
Joker? You gotta say it, bro. You gotta let them know. Like, what is everything?
like these Yoshimitsu players, like Nina players as well. Like I think some characters' move list is way too advanced now. I like for some characters they don't have too many enhanced moves, you know? Like
Mm.
imagine Jin, like Jin has Heat Smash, right? But imagine if he had more shit in Heat. Like wouldn't that be even more obnoxious as he already is?
Yeah.
Like we need to look at the whole roster. We need to like something I didn't like about Tekken 7, I'm gonna mention this, is like some characters got their weaknesses stripped away, like Bob got his 15 frame launcher and whatnot. I hope they don't go that same path. Characters need to have weaknesses, otherwise it's not fun when they're so well rounded, you know. And I feel like
Mm.
the meta gets stale. Like right now, we're just seeing a shit ton of Dragonovs and Yoshis and Ninas.
Yoshi used to
And
be fun to watch. I remember Tekken
yeah,
7. You guys can find videos of me commentate, be like, we don't get to see many Yoshis. I'm really, really excited to see how he
it's
plays. Now
it's what
I don't want to see that.
it's what MYK just said. Everyone does damage on wall carry now, and punishment is just getting better across the whole board. Like what the days when Yoshi barely had wall carry and damage, like now he just has everything and Oki on top.
Mhm.
Like why?
I remember when Feng didn't have good combos. Now he has.
Right.
Yeah,
I was about to say.
I agree with that. They should nerf thing, but
How would they nerf
it
Feng?
won't
What do you
it won't make a difference. They should nerf. I think the whiff recovery on Danford 3. They should nerf. That's it. I think.
I want to add a.
Nice.
That was fucking great.
I want to add some like examples from Tekken 8 that I think are good examples of heat implementation. So, I have Steve bias. That's the first one. But I noticed that for that character, it feels like you need to capitalize on the heat window. You need to activate it intelligently. Like for me, saving your heat on Steve to recover gray health or to start applying chip pressure is like a valid consideration to make versus just activate, just mix up after on Steve specifically. I also think I fight like Lee players a lot, and I hate that character. But
Haley.
I think that the Lee heat implementation has more interesting components to it, where his heat smash doesn't do insane damage, right?
Yes.
It's not like Claudio's. He gets easier execution for newer players, so that's a really cool like consideration to make. I do roll my eyes every time I get acid rained by a Lee in heat, but it is what it is. I shouldn't have been punished. The other thing I like is he gets like small buffs, like forward 3 becomes heat dash launch, and the rest is just like knockdown, right? Lee's is, for me, it makes a lot of sense. He doesn't put you in totally brand new messed up situations outside of whiffing versus forward 3 or something. But it was kind of like his rage drive in Tekken 7. It didn't create a really stupid situation. It was a really cool combo extender, right?
Yeah.
And I like that flavor of heat where it's a buff. It's not you're a god character now, right? And I would love to see more characters have that versus like they're in heat now. It's time for me to like just pray I survive, like Jin, Dragunov, right? Like Nina. I think that there are examples of characters in the game where I wouldn't say it's fair, but it's certainly more fair than what we're seeing out of other characters.
I agree with you. I think actually Feng is a good example of what you're talking about as well. I don't think that he's like a lot better in heat outside of maybe the forward 1+2 charge into back 1. Like that's it's kind of cheap, right? But
I'm too
he
emotional
only,
about Fang to comment politely. So
but Feng has like really good overall tools. So he doesn't also need dumb enhanced moves as well, right? He's also got like good defensive tools like the back tempo. So what you're really looking out for from Feng is just shoulder into heat dash, right? And when it comes to Lee, it's like, okay, he's got a low heat engager, heat smash, but he also has that forward 3, which seems to it's unblockable online. You can't block that shit, bro. So unstoppable, unblockable, forward 3 into heat dash, you're dead. So yeah, I like that as well. Like maybe nerfing, especially with like you look at Nina and Lisa, they have such a complete moveset. Why do they also have access to this dumb shit in heat as well? Like it's crazy.
Like
Yeah.
sorry, just to interrupt. Like I need to mention Yoshi again. We really need to talk about Yoshi, guys. Yoshi and Law. Why does Yoshi's and Law's heat smash? Why is it a guess on block, and why does it wall splat from the other country? Like, I don't understand. Like, why?
Rip, he's asking you, like, why?
Rip,
No,
Rip,
yeah,
I'm asking specifically,
I love it.
What's the G clap? The G clap is insane, insane.
Laws?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But look, honestly, look, okay, here. My opinion, right? I think Law's heat is actually really interesting because all those moves do become launchers, right? The G clef, the back 1-2-2, a 4-3, right? He also has the auto parry, right? So now he can DSS and get the auto parry out of it. His nunchuck is a regular hit launcher, right? So like all those things are really good for his heat. So his heat system is really good, but all those things I just mentioned, you can just block. He's not a character that's going to chip you down like Kuma or Jin, right? So you can just time out his heat, and his nunchucks take off a big chunk of the heat bar.
Oh, you can go saying Rip just said you can just block versus Law and you won't get chipped out. You should see how Gosain plays, man. I get chipped out like 60% of my health just gone for no reason.
Yeah.
You know what the funny thing is? Gosain never used to beat me in Tekken 7. I used to destroy him, but now he's beating me, so it's crazy.
That's crazy.
Damn.
Yo,
I'm impressed.
Go say, what are you saying, bro? He said that you beat you all the time in Tekken 7. What's going on? Gokoma, let me ask you while Gosain and Joker beef in the chat. Yeah, so do you agree with that as well with the heat? Like it's not good. The enhanced moves, heat launcher as well. Like, what do you think is the big problem with heat?
Yeah, like some characters don't have the hit special move like Kuma, or like I don't feel it's the special mode like new system.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, some character Kuma or who else? Like when hit mode character
Nina.
changed a little bit.
Nina. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Nina. And who else? Like it's really difficult to find the hit mode is the special point.
Yeah, it's just like it's heat smash and that's it, mix up and
Yeah, that's all actually. So I don't feel hit system is like the make the game the new version. We need kind of that things more, but not that too much move set like now.
I see.
But yeah, I think jokes aside, like I think both again balance and systematic changes need to be done like immediately. I think if we want to head into the right direction, but I'm optimistic. I think it will happen. But yeah, I think some characters are fine with the way they are, but I think other characters are just too much in heat. Like they're like another character in heat, man. Honestly.
I want
examples.
Yeah, go on.
Yoshi, Shaheen, Law, Shayu's insane. Kuma is like insane, insane. Which of the characters are there? I need to check the roster.
I think so. Somebody in the chat said Hwoarang, and I'm curious about the take on that. I get hype when I see Hwoarang hit the counter hit 2 into the heat confirm that becomes a full launcher.
If I'm being honest with you, I think they just do it. They just do it. I don't think they even confirm it. You know?
I agree. Yeah, they're doing that shit, man.
I think that is cool. I don't have enough experience to think is that like game warping, like that ruins everything, because it's clearly a new thing for the character. There are like heat states that give characters like new things, but then there's also the like ascending to godhood like Xiaoyu, right?
Yeah.
So where do we like Victor? How do we feel about Victor's heat? Like where is too much?
I think like Victor's heat isn't that bad, you know. Like he does chip you down a lot, but it's not that much guessing as compared to like Ling, Lily, Kuma, Claudio is another one, which is a very interesting character. But yeah,
like
I think
new guessing situations.
Yeah, literally new guessing situations. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing. I wanted to also talk about, now that we're on the topic of Heat Dash, one thing that I mentioned, I tweeted as well, saying that I find really boring, and I'm curious to see what the chat thinks, what people at home think, and you guys. The very common way to end rounds. You have heat. I'm gonna do my my heat engager move, my Lars 1-1-1, my back to 1 1, whatever move it is that's normally punishable, but now you're +5 and it does a ton of chip damage, and usually will put the opponent on a pixel remaining, and it's just okay. You're +5, one more mix and you're dead. What do you guys think about that heat dash into a final mix up? I find it boring, man.
Yeah, this is something we spoke about, I think, in one of the first podcasts we did. We said like there's gonna come a time where we're gonna see so many of the same situations just played out. It's literally gonna be heat dash into like final mix. And obviously it's hype when the final mix gets blocked and they make a comeback, but it's like how much more longer can we like just watch that and like be like, woo, hype, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what I was saying earlier, that power crush from Law, right? The forward forward 3. That's what I use it for. Like, it's gonna power crush your move, and if you block, if you attack, I hit through you. If you block it, I get a dash. Now it's my mix. You know, it's like, is that cool? Like, it's stupid, I think. So for me, it's fun, but I don't want to deal with that against any character.
Yeah, it's like but I'm just gonna say like comeback mechanics. Okay, in Tekken 6 it was rage. Rage was crazy, big damage to some characters, whatever. Tekken Tag 2, kind of similar thing, right? You have rage, and that could be a big comeback. You know, you have Jinpachi, a couple hits, and yeah, GG's. Tekken 7, it was the rage art, and then subsequently the rage drive, right? And I think someday, look, I thought that was dumb. Like I played Zafina in Tekken 7, and the amount of times I was able to rob people with a 14 frame +17 homing launcher, right? With rage, I mean, if anyone tried to even sidestep any direction, you're dead basically. You did like 80 plus damage, right? So the different combat mechanics, and I think they've given in Tekken 7 they gave us a lot of combat mechanics. Now I feel like it's just gone to another level, maybe, you know, with the heat system and with the overall damage of the game anyway. But it's not only just that. It's also stuff like spike combos. We haven't spoken about that. Like some characters get insane. Let's talk about Kuma's wall combo. I'm a Kuma player, so I play Kuma in this game. Kuma's wall combo, down forward 1-2 in the whole string into the booty guaranteed. Leo getting the stance 1+2 into, or Lee getting the little flip. Do you think these combos should be gotten rid of as well? Because it leads to big damage, but also Oki for that character as well. We saw a triple perfect this year in the Tekken World Tour with Ling Xiaoyu with the 4-2-1 string into the back turn Cali roll, into back turn heat smash into 50-50 dead. Like, what do you guys think of spike combos as well?
It's
go ahead,
possible
Kokomo,
or
go ahead.
no is not the problem. Just problem is damage. It's too big.
So you don't care. You don't care about like spike into flip over and then mix up. Like Ling Xiaoyu.
Ling Xiaoyu.
You know, like if she does the spike and then does the kick and then you flip
And
over.
then 50-50, yeah.
50-50.
Shit. Maybe. Wait. I have to think about that again.
Well, what do you think, Joker?
I think they have to get rid of spike combos. I think they shouldn't exist in a game like Tekken 8, where it's like mad aggressive. It's easier to set up these spike combos as well. Like you're not doing some advanced master's degree to set it up or something. So I think they need to get rid of all spike combos universally. They have to.
Rip, do you agree with that? Spike combos?
Yeah, get rid of spike combos, bring back jump over Oki.
Oh my god. Jump Over Oki was a lot more fun though to watch.
Yeah, and you had to have a master's degree in it.
Fee, what do you think of the spike combos?
I think my opinion on spike combos and jump over Oki is they should have stayed in the game as situational things. So you get an off-axis combo as somebody, you know the specific spike combo, you get rewarded for it, right? Versus like universal spike combos, like every time I'm at the wall, Leo's stepping on me again, you know, like cool. Or every time I'm at the wall, Ling Xiaoyu's flipping me over again. Okay, cool. Like that's not as cool to me as the context-specific ones, the character specialist ones, right? Which we already saw start getting removed near the end of Tekken 7. So I don't think they're coming back, but I personally like seeing really cool lab situations on Twitter. Like, is this practical in tournament? Maybe not, but some people are having fun exploring these. I find that really cool. So me personally, I'm a big fan of context-specific spike combos and jump over Oki. Again, with consideration that it takes kind of skill and study versus like this is your bread and butter combos to spike them and make them guess again. Like they even took out Lily's like the wall ender that flipped you over, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that is the right direction where if you want the higher damage ender, you sacrifice good Okazemi. I feel like that's been a standard thing in old Tekkens, right? Like Tekken Tag 2, if you wanted the Oki ender or the wall carry ender or the damage ender, you had to choose. But there's so many characters now where you get all three. And it started in Tekken 7 a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like I did Noctis's Demo Man. it gave me everything I wanted, right?
Yep.
Devil Jin gets like a sorry, not a regular Jin getting the new laser scraper
Laser
ender.
scraper,
Does
yeah.
everything you want.
Yeah, damage
Um,
Anoki. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to run back to where you talked about comeback mechanics and like that heat dash chip, the last mix up.
Yeah, yeah.
I do think it's kind of lame that so many rounds end with a big chip into a final poke. I think the proposed heat dash change, where it's a addition of certain frames versus a fixed +5, will help that a lot.
Mhm.
I think that's huge, especially when you consider the characters who are doing it. Tons of Dragonov, tons of Nina, putting you with tons of gray health, or Elisa too. Jeez. And I think that helps a lot there. With regard to comeback mechanics, I loved Tekken 6 Rage because it activated so late. You had like 5 or 10 HP, and you would come back through. Yes, you could get a random launcher, but you had to see somebody get through the minefield of keep out with that little pixel. With Tekken 7, it felt weird because you made your opponent stronger by almost killing them. My opponent puts me to like 30%. I have a gun at full screen as Noctis now. like thank you for that. Steve gains a whiff punish that launches. So I think Tekken 8, it feels like the aggression mechanic is being harnessed as a comeback mechanic, but adjustments to heat would also, I think, naturally affect how well people can come back. So I have never felt the issue of somebody coming back on me in a way that wasn't as frustrating as just dealing with the heat in the first place, right? So I feel like there's a link there where if you address one, you fix the other two. Yeah, that's my take on those.
Yeah,
three
I
topics.
think so. I think if you address the system, then it can make a massive difference. Like, what do you think though, Fee? Do you think that the heat dash should be like? What do you actually think? Do you think it should be like 0? It should be neutral on block if you're
It
gonna.
should depend on the move that you did. I think if like I play too much Steve. If Steve is doing running 2 and he's losing frame advantage for that, that's weird. If Nina's doing her -14 move and is gaining frame advantage, that's weird, right? So I think that it's got to be, again, character by character. Hopefully make the rule consistent, but character by character, ultimately, like creating these heat dash situations. It's different if Victor is stabbing you in the face one more time with his power crush move and then getting the mix versus like tons of other different moves that aren't as oppressive, right? So I think it really depends.
Kokomo, what do you think about the flip over now that you've had some time to think? You like the flip over, no flip over, Okizemi, spike combo? What do you think about that?
No exist.
You don't want it. You don't
Take
want
it out.
Take it out.
I changed my mind. Like,
Yeah.
after situation is too good, even damage is too good. The situation means like 50-50 again. Like no more. Just delete that, please.
It seems to
Yeah.
not. Yeah, it's all about 50-50s, right? So, the other thing that I have written down here as well. Well, there's two more things. One we talked about briefly. Chip damage. Let's talk about chip damage as a whole, because this is the big thing in Tekken that we've never had before. We never had chip damage, right? Outside of certain situations where rage drives would do a little bit of chip damage on you, like I don't know, like Kazumi's, for example, sometimes would chip you down when you get hit the wall and stuff, and that type of situation. But chip damage is a big thing in this game now, and I think that people aren't talking enough about how influential chip can actually be in a game. Chip damage, what do we guys think about that? Because now you can't be too passive anymore, right? Because you're just going to be getting hit by, or you're just going to be taking a lot of damage by blocking these heavy moves. I've heard people say that they don't think that chip damage should exist with moves like a Dragon of Running 2 or stuff like this, like that give you plus frames as well. Rip, I'll ask you, what do you think about that? Because of course, again, like you're the most experienced one here in terms of Tekken, and this is a big change in Tekken now. What do you make of chip
Yeah,
damage?
sure. So, Tekken's having its 30th anniversary. I've been here since the beginning, right? So I realized I've been playing this game for like 30 years, which
Holy
is
shit,
crazy.
that's crazy.
But, along the way, anything that's new is always like people look at it funny, right? You're like, what is that new thing? I don't like that new thing, right? And that was me with chip damage. When we had the betas, I was like, chip has to go. I think I put out a video. I think that might have been the title. And playing the game now, I don't notice it all the time, but the times I do notice it, I don't like it still. So it's definitely a new system. I would prefer it doesn't exist. I feel like if we just went back to Tekken without it, it would probably still be okay. I feel like it was probably built just around June because they wanted to bring her back and have this life recovery mechanic and everything. And then they changed all of that. So now it's like, not even the same.
Hmm.
I'm just not really a big fan of it, and I also feel like it caused situations where we've lost slow mos because of it. So I feel like it's had this compounding effect where it hasn't really helped the game, and in fact, it's probably hurt the game more than it's helped the game. I think that's really the end of it.
I saw a message in the chat by Chicken Maru saying that he feels like that chip damage should only be inflicted while the character's in heat. I don't know if that would ever be a thing that they would do, but chip damage seems to be very, very precise. There's been situations I play, like I said, I play Kuma, and that is the
Mhm.
chip damage character, and I don't mind the chip damage on that character much because he does have like another like clear weaknesses as well. His heat is obviously
Yeah.
really stupid, but him being the chip damage character, I think is cool, right? But I don't
Mhm.
think that should be in the hands of a character like Nina or Elisa or these other characters, right?
No, I completely agree with that too. And like, I was playing against MYK the other day, and I kind of forgot, that the Bear X does hella chip damage. So this guy Mike was just doing it, and I'm like, I'll just block it, whatever. And I wasn't really paying attention. I looked up, I had like 70% gray. I was like, bro, what the hell? I was like so confused by it when I saw it because I was like, what the hell? But like that to me, it's like, okay, it's cool when like one character can do it. I like Chicken Chakra's idea there of having it only available in heat or something, but I just don't feel like that's what the developers wanted, right? So ultimately that's their direction for the game. Whether like I don't think at this point that they're going to remove it, so I've kind of accepted it to be here, and like I will play the game as it is, just like I played Tekken 4 as it was, and I think that when you're more of a casual player, you don't really care as much about the new changes, right? Because I remember back when Tekken 4 came out, backdash was basically gone, slope floors, walls everywhere, and I was like, this is great. All the tournament players like this shit sucks, and I was like, well, I don't know why, man. It's still Tekken to me, so now that I'm more casual again, like I don't mind it all so much, but I can see why it would bother other people still.
Yeah, yeah. Kokoma, what do you think of chip damage then? Do you think that it's okay? Like, my opinion is that maybe just with some moves, nerf the chip damage. Like Nina, Elisa, they shouldn't do a lot of chip damage. But what do you think of chip damage right now? Too much?
For my character, yeah, like they should nerf chip damage like Dragunov, Nina. I don't think Pang, honestly.
Hmm.
Pang is especially EU guys who says about Pang is really difficult and fucking S tier character. They don't know how to beat Pang way.
Oh shit! Oh, he just called out Europe, man.
Bro, he
What about
called out
Americans though,
Europe.
man? What about
I
Americans?
agree
Europe.
Dragunov and Nina, but Pang, even I play all strong character, and every time you guys know that every time I play super strong character, even burst. But for now, I really want to throw the Pang because in this game, one more thing.
Hmm.
Burst Tekken 8, Pang was God, super God. But now I want to really throw the Pang, but I don't have a time until TWT Binary like prepare another character, so that's why I'm still keeping the Pang. But anyway, yeah, Dragunop's like chip damage, the combo damage, and the how to
Headbutt.
call that the move, the
Headbutt?
no
What do you mean?
the low move, the new move.
Oh, can you move?
Full crouch down for full one.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
kind of that things, and also like Dragunop's 1-2 tracking the side step. Even damage is cheap. The 10 frame counter move. Kind of that the cheap damage and even tracking Brian's. What was that?
Oh yeah, yeah. The
That
Q
one
ship.
and hit engager middle move. Kind of these all tracking and even chip damage all characters move should be nerfed.
Okay. So tracking and and chip damage for all characters should be nerfed. I think that I'd
Yeah.
like to be in a situation where you give these characters clear weaknesses, man. Like they shouldn't be doing everything. Joe, do you agree with me? Like Nina, Yoshimitsu, and Dragunov, like clear examples, Jin and these characters, they're doing so much chip, but that I think that chip should be reserved for some characters. That should be like a special thing for them, right? Like every character should do a bit of chip, right? But it's in the system. It's a system thing. But they all shouldn't be doing as much as they're doing, bro. Like it's not just Kuma that can put on the crazy chip, bro. Like what do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree with what Kokoma's saying for the most part.
Yeah.
Like Chip needs to be nerfed, I think some moves in Heat do too much. Like again, I mentioned Dragonaut's back 4-3. Like, why does that launch? You know, I-14 Heat dash. QCF4 is also a launcher in Heat, which like people don't talk about enough. Like that move has everything, literally everything. Um, but yeah, I think chip damage is. I understand the mechanic, but like I think it needs to be toned down by quite a bit because I feel like some characters do way too much chip. And again, when we're talking about weaknesses, I feel like some characters have everything, like Yoshimitsu. Like, what's Yoshimitsu's weakness at this point? And like Nina as well, and Dragunov, for instance. Like, Alyssa is another character with chip damage. I like what I like though. They nerfed Alyssa's chip damage, and they also nerfed 421, which is like the biggest problem move. It was
Mhm.
it was a heat dash. It was a launcher. It's a launcher. It still is, right?
Yeah,
Four
yeah.
two one, yeah.
It was
That's
minus 11 or 10 before.
10 minus 10, I think.
it was
What the
minus
fuck?
10 and with weird pushback.
What were
Mm.
they thinking? Like 421 being minus 10, you can cancel it. You don't even need to finish it. You can go into stance, or you can just cancel it and just do 4-2 on its own. Like, why are Alyssa players not winning?
Yo, at least the players answer right now. I know you guys are watching in the chat. Why aren't you winning, man? What's going on? Yoshi players aren't winning either, man. Are they just?
But
They're just
no,
bad.
honestly,
Joke.
jokes aside though, like characters need to have weaknesses, man.
Yeah.
They have to.
I completely agree with that sentiment. And I remember when I was watching the first trailer for Tekken 8 and they talked about chip damage in Amsterdam, I
Mm.
was like, I think I was a huge hater immediately. I was like, this is the stupidest thing ever. Why are you getting punished for blocking? I feel like I've made the biggest turnaround in that opinion based on how Tekken 8 is made, right? I think that chip damage allows for certain things that certain levels of interaction that weren't really encouraged before. So, for example, I think in this game, it's really optimal. I keep bringing up Steve. I'm sorry. It's optimal to attack into Steve more because his counter hit combos are mainly gray health. So the fact that you can reserve your heat engager and kind of still fight him and beat him up allows people to interact with Steve in more interesting ways for both players than I have to sit here and let him back one over and over and over again. You know what I mean? And I think that's actually more interesting in how the fights turn out, right? You get this interaction where you risk getting comboed, but because most of it is gray, you add this decision layer now of, okay, if I hold my heat engager, then everything he did to me matters way less now, right? And I think that the egregious problems we all agree are horrible problems. The Kumas, the Ninas, the Alisas, Yoshimitsu, how he uses gray health is crazy. But I think there's still potential in the system in that the way it allows you to interact more and still have a window to recover health, the way that it allows you to get counter hit and not be out of that round is also pretty cool. So I like a couple of the ideas with gray health specifically. Completely agree that chip is insane for some characters that shouldn't have it. Like in this game, poking is so powerful because it's all permanent health. So why does Nina, who's the poke master, also do a bunch of chip, right? I think that's a perfect example of defined weaknesses and strengths that probably weren't super accounted for in the initial design when they were just coming out with this new system, right? So would love to see tweaks to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you like recoverable health, but you don't like chip damage.
Depends. I think that chip represents a reasonable threat for some situations. Like the fact that Victor's down two, the strength of it is that if you try to mash out of his stance or like armor out of it, you take a fuck ton of chip, right? Like I think that there are some interesting micro interactions with certain characters and certain designs. But yeah, it's definitely a gray health. I enjoy the gray health system a lot. Chip ambivalent, depends on how they use it. But I think like, I'm biased again. I think that Steve has to chip a lot. He has to threaten your HP with all of the strings because why else would you duck against him? Why would you ever interact with him?
I'll
You could
give you an
just let his heat
example
time out.
with Zafina, for example. I've been playing a lot of Zafina recently. That character, there are some players who do react to down three. I'm pretty sure Kokoma, Joker, maybe you guys
Yeah.
can react to it as well, right? The down three it's such an important. It's 22 frames, so it is difficult, but you have to train yourself. If you can, that character becomes a lot more difficult to play because her other lows ain't amazing. They got rid of back 1+2 now as well. It's only in stance. You have to use Damak 3, which is not a lot of range, not a lot of damage. It doesn't high crush. So if you're not using down 3, I mean, if you can block that, I played against CBM, a few months ago, and that guy was blocking every down 3, and I saw him reacting to it too, like with this arcade stick. He actually looked for it and he reacted to it. Very, very difficult, right? But on the flip side of that is, so she doesn't have the best lows if you take away down 3, but she has chip damage, right? She has the Azazel moves, right? From the down forward one from all the different stances, all of them do chip damage, running 1+2, running 3. So for her, it makes sense that there's chip damage, but for other characters that do everything else, it doesn't make sense, right? So, I think we're all in agreement here, right? Just reduce chip damage for some characters, maybe not everybody, but at least some of the characters that do other things really well. Are we in agreement for that one at least?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. And the last thing I want to talk about on the side of really crazy things right now in Tekken 8. Ulsan made a tweet saying Tekken 8 is officially an aggressive game, but why do some characters have really strong defensive options, which make you not play aggressive against them? It feels like you just have to backdash endlessly and wait. So this is something really weird, and that's me paraphrasing. That's what I think he was trying to say. Now, what I believe he's talking about are moves like Yoshi's Flash, Spin,
Yeah.
like the maybe Feng's back Kempo and stuff like that,
Yeah.
right?
Back Kempo.
Can
Steve Lionheart.
Yeah. Steve's Lionheart is insane.
So what do we think about that as well? Because if this is an aggressive game, why do I also have to be worried about these very strong defensive options? Ling Xiao Yu has AOP, sidestep AOP still, and AOP down. But they nerfed Eddie's defensive options, though. He doesn't have the relax like it was before, which was super evasive. He doesn't have sidestep 4 as it was before. Sidestep 4 got nerfed. A lot of his keep out and defensive tools got nerfed. That's why I don't play him anymore, right? Because I was a defensive Eddie. But Ling Xiaoyu, she kept her defensive bullshit, but she's become buffed even more. So she not only has this crazy damage, right? Like truckload of damage, but she also has access to the back turned sidestep, which is better than Liddy's sidewalk. She covers more ground in her back turn sidestepping than any other character in the game, and she has access to sidestep AOP and AOP down, back Kempo, flash. What do we think of the defensive moves? Do they need to be nerfed as well? Kokoma, what do you think? AOP, back, flash, spin, Yoshi. Do you think it should be nerfed?
That's definitely actually weird move. Flash even it's actually, I don't feel it's 15 minus frame.
Yeah.
It's even become sometimes minus 12 or 11, right?
What, flash?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It's hard to punish though. Very hard to punish. Yeah.
I guess minus 12 or 13. It become like that even. And also the delay is too much short. It's fucking weird, honestly. Combo, even the 8 frame or 6 frame.
6 frame and 8 frame. Yeah.
It's too fast even. Kind of that annoying for aggressive system. It's just super weird, and it should be gone.
It should be gone. Joker, what do you think, man?
It should be gone, really.
Yeah.
It should be. It should be gone. Yeah, I think no sword stance flash, especially the hitbox on that thing. I've seen Yoshi players now, absolute geniuses. They're so good at this game that they just run up and just flash you. That's probably the best strat I've ever seen. But yeah, I think a lot of defensive options need to be toned down. Feng's back tempo included. I've always said this from the start. I said this in Tekken 7. I think Steve's
Over.
Yeah, that's insane.
Whoa.
Over here. Wait, we'll get your opinion on that as well, Afi. What about AOP?
Yes, I can't believe we went through an arc where people are telling me learn the matchup, and this guy's been playing since how long? That was insane, man.
Yeah, that was a bit crazy. But I also want to get your opinion, Joker, on moves like Lee's back 4. Should that still be the way that it is? Considering I think that he has got really, really solid tools, but back 4 is also, it's not a stance or anything, but it's a move which really stops you from playing super, super aggressively, right? And it still counted launches like it did before.
Honestly, I don't think back 4 is that much of an issue, because I feel like in this game you could step it more than you could in Tekken 7.
Okay.
I like that there's some moves you can step more now in Tekken 8. So I don't think backfall is that much of an issue. But I think all the other moves, like, ridiculous, man. Get rid of them. Well, nerf them. You know what I mean.
Flash. Wait, what other moves? Flash, spin.
Flash, spin, back tempo, and
Even
Steve's
hop
back
kick.
tempo.
I don't
Hop,
understand why Yoshimitsu's hop kick is -13 only. Even avoid
High and low.
high moves. Yeah.
high,
Mm.
mids,
Yeah, it's like
everything.
Lucky Chloe's.
King as well.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
King's
lucky
muscle
Chloe.
armor is
Yeah.
insane.
I forgot to mention
Insane.
that. Yeah, the muscle armor. So the way that it works is because it's not an attack, even though it's a power crush, you can't counter hit it with low. I think one thing they should do if they're gonna keep that in the game, then you should be able to counter hit it with lows. I think that is probably a good thing to do, so they don't spam it all
Universal.
the time. What there is also something else as well. There's a couple of situations where there's power crush moves, like I think even Horang when he does his approach with the in stance, it's a power crush, but you can't counter it with the lows. There's other characters too in the situation. I really just think that it should be if you're in a power crush state, you should be able to get counter hit by a low. These defensive moves are like crazy. Yeah, Jax as well and stuff. Fee, what do you think of that as well? They mentioned Steve's kind of back Kemper over here. We got the other stuff as well. Defensive options that are so strong, but as well as that, keeping all the offensive stuff too.
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly. We talked about defined strengths and weaknesses. The fact that some characters have strong offense and these defensive moves is an interesting choice to me. Now, I will admit that I'm not an expert in the June matchup, but I've always found it strange that I am playing around her strong like counter hit threats and the fact that she can just start offense with like a sidestep 4 and get plus and then start poking me again. I found it really strange that I have to play around Elisa's sidestep and backdash and she's beating the shit out of me, right? I find it odd that Asuka has some of the strongest like offensive 50-50 stuff. Yes, it's risky, it's still very strong, and she has sidestep 2, can things like that. I don't think the defensive moves outside of King's muscle armor are busted in isolation. It's what the character can do to me, how I want to counter that, and then I run into the defensive moves, right? So when I think about fighting Steve, I'm usually playing pretty small against Steve anyways. So I haven't felt the pain that badly of getting like overheared unless I did something really dumb. Personal bias again. And I think that's also probably why Feng's back Kenpo hasn't bothered me as much in this game as it did in the last game. Is I'm interacting in so many different ways than just like throwing out a move that will get like horribly whiff punished. So I think that again, this is why I favor a character by character look rather than a general like systemic approach. If you nerf all the defensive moves, it shifts the tiers a certain way. But you create more interesting characters if they're allowed to have these defensive moves for a reason. They suck somewhere else. Like remove Yoshi's like dragonfly stance, his insane like heat state. And if you just left him with Flash and it didn't give him the insane stuff he could do after too, I feel like that's more acceptable. It's still annoying, it's still horrible, but the fact that he can do all the offense and rob you is, I think, where the frustration exists for most characters with defensive stuff too.
So potentially it's not about getting rid of the defensive options per se, but not allowing them to be able to do everything, right? Like if in an aggressive game, Yoshimitsu, not only is he playing defensive, not only is he playing, like doing chip damage, huge damage with the combos, really, really good pokes, 1-1. Why the hell is that safe? And counter launching without a sword. Like, there's so much that Yoshi's doing, as well as having the defensive stuff. Rip, what do you think about that? Like, would you just like to see all the defensive options gone, or do you think that actually the characters that have those defensive options should just have their offensive options nerfed a little bit so they have that defensive archetype?
Yeah, I think they should reduce the offensive opportunities that they have, because I think the defensive strategies that you can use with each of these characters, like you can maybe tone them down a tiny bit, but it's kind of what makes the players able to play those characters in those sorts of ways. So I don't want to remove them, because specifically for Law in this game, like they removed my like the parry's worse, right? The giant backflip is like near impossible to use now because they wanted you to keep the pressure on Law. They don't want him to just be able to flip away from you all day. His Magic 4 is basically gone now too, and it's 2 frames slower, right? So they toned down all of Law's keep out defensive options in that sort of a way, but then other characters get to keep it too while still having their offense, right? So like personally, I wish Law had less options for offense in Heat and still had all of those defensive options I just listed. The giant backflip, the 11 frame Magic 4 or something, right? I feel like that's a better trade-off, and you can have more ways to play the character and you can show it off differently between different players. So I agree with VDX basically.
Yeah, get rid of the offensive options that these characters have, so that are meant to be defensive. Joker, do you agree with that, or would you just like to see that these characters keep their offensive options and just have their defensive options nerfed?
I don't think get rid of it. I think you need to like nerf it. I think getting rid of it is a bit too much and it takes away like the identity of a character. I think it's important to just nerf it and tone it down.
The offensive
Like
options.
the defensive
Oh, the
options, not the
defensive options.
offensive
Okay.
option. Offensive options need to be gutted for the most part.
Got it.
Not gutted, but like nerfed quite hard.
I see. Yeah, I mean, but that actually puts me on to another point which has been going on Twitter. Actually, one of the most annoying things. I have to say something as well. Why is everyone shitting on Tekken 7 all of a sudden? Did people not? Okay, hang on. Where did it start? First of all, who the fuck started this? And why is everyone just like changing history now? There were people shitting
It's
on
crazy.
me versus JDCR at Rev Major 2017, dude. Like, I don't understand. Like that was really fun to watch. Like that was good ass Tekken, if anything, right? And then Tekken 7 in general, the Tekken World Tour, the storylines and everything. Even if you forget about the storylines, some of these tournament sets were amazing, dude. Tekken always delivered. You know, me, Rip, we've commentated how many tournaments now at this point, man, and how loud have we gotten in certain situations. The Waste Honey versus Low High moment when I lost my voice, and so many others over the years. I just don't get where this shitting on Tekken 7 came from. I think there is a person that comes to mind, you know, and his name rhymes with Lead Hicks. But you know, let me get your opinion.
Not
V.
beat dicks? No, what are you saying?
No, not that one. V, what do you think about Tekken 7?
Yeah, I think the consequence, like, I think I have to take some responsibility because so much
Okay.
of my content is built on like Speedkick's philosophy Tekken, right? So, and because as someone who has a lot of like reach, I think that people will jump to agree to that. I also think there is a lot of I think people who follow me especially or got into the game around I did probably have the freshest memories of season 3, 4, and then like 4.5, the new tactics patch, right? And I think the memories we have of that style of Tekken are very much Infinite Azure 2 backdash. Wait for the counter hit, right? I think that, or Fakumram deleting you in like 2 combos, or, you know, release Leroy. So the people who have come on towards the tail end of Tekken 7 have way more negative memories, I think, of the game than people who were there since release and had those hype moments and watching players adjust and navigate from arcade to season 1 and the glory days of season 2, which I wasn't there for, right? I played like a couple games, but I really didn't start digging into Tekken 7 until season 3, season 4. So I think that's part of the consequence. The other thing I think is that because Tekken 8 was designed as almost direct opposition to the direction of Tekken 7, I think it was bound to happen that it would be so polarizing. The fact that everybody who was frustrated by watching Kunimitsu backdash mirrors or watching go to infinite on counterpick every time are naturally going to like how Tekken 8 forces you to interact, which is more of the speed kicks position, I think, where you are rewarded more for initiating, living in the danger zone, and creating decisions rather than playing high percentage defense and option selects and safe poke timings. Right?
But if you had an issue with option selects and these and this type of stuff, Tekken Tag 2 did that way more. But he loved that game. You know, again, you're
I
not
think
speaking. I can't talk to him
Yeah.
directly here. But
Not even that though, but like the end of Tekken 7 was Kunimitsu, right? Like you just said, people are tired of watching Kunimitsu. I feel like Kunimitsu was like the prototype of the characters in Tekken 8.
Yeah.
Yes, I think the reason why she didn't thrive as much was due to the context of the meta at the time. But I wanted to talk about the Tekken Tag 2 thing real quick, where it was a lot of option select defense and movement, but there was rarely a, like, from what I hear from talking to a lot of people who were really good at the time, there was rarely like an 80-90% success rate option, right? Like you would sidestep a certain way, you're exposing yourself to like 40% of the other moves, 30% of the other moves.
In Tag 2.
Sidestep one way, you cut right. How I feel in Tekken 7 was that backdash was so good, play for low parry and counter hit was so good that it just skewed the numbers in a way where it made more sense to play a certain, like it was to the extreme where that style of play, if you played a character that could do it, especially too, was too good. I played Noctis. There's a set with me fighting Knee where he had all of this legacy skill. He knew how to bait movement. He knew how to bait pokes. And all I had to do was run away and hit up forward 1 and a hop knee. I, as a fan of Tekken 7, as someone who loves that style of playing, even I felt like that was kind of messed up, that I could close the skill gap, that he had all this legacy skill that I could pick up a sword and run away and it would be fine. So I feel like I'm in the middle where I love Tekken 7, I love Tekken 8. I can see why people were upset or bored or frustrated with Tekken 7 based on that context.
I think,
that's how I feel.
Honestly, I think that in Tekken Tag 2, you were able to option select a lot more options and like get around certain moves and stances. Like Steve is a good example as well. From Tekken Tag 2 to Tekken 7, dude, if I did like a sidestep left and duck in certain situations, I'm getting around every single of your options with Steve, right? Whereas in Tekken 7, that just didn't exist. I was doing that for like a good year still. I was still sidestep duck in certain situations. I'm getting hit, right? I just think that it's crazy to me. Like, I'm still trying to think about this. It's like the defense in Tekken Tag 2 was a lot scarier than it was in Tekken 7. Tekken 7 forced you to be more aggressive. I think the Tekken World Tour rule was an issue. The fact that the reason why we saw the Infinite stage is it was because Tekken World Tour. It forced you to, it allowed you to be able to play on Infinite stage if you wanted to, and obviously with certain characters like Zafina and Kunimitsu, which have really good backdashes, of course they're gonna be going. And I was an Eddie main back in that game as well, and I would obviously go to Infinite stage because it really helps that character. But if we didn't have that rule in the Tekken World Tour, we wouldn't have seen it as much. You know, we would have seen more engaging, I think.
At risk of falling too much into the discussion, I think the last thing I would want to say is that in Tekken Tag 2, it was, and Tekken 6 and Tekken 5, you could use movement offensively. Like if you read a keep out button or something, it was very feasible to move around it. So as an attacker, you could run in and step around something, and someone would be punished for throwing out a blind button. But there were too many times me as a DLC character could put out my homing safe counter hit launching mid, my relatively good tracking pushback like high, right? I think the attackers didn't have skillful ways to outplay me doing my thing no matter what they did. And I think that is the beef that comes like in the speed kicks philosophy of like looking at Tekken. I think that's where a lot of the frustration came from, is that there was no way to punish me for being like brain dead defensive, right?
But you're saying that using forward 1+2 is an issue because it covered a lot of options, and it was, you're saying that's a defensive option, good, doing forward 1+2.
I think so, because as an offensive move, it gives up my turn, they can just block. But as a defensive move, it's broken.
Okay, but having that kind of move, like, it doesn't Tekken 8 do that as well?
I feel like that's hella Tekken 8.
Forward 1+2.
That's a forward 1+2 seems like a very Tekken 8 type of move, man. And
it's
also,
not launchers, but they're all heat engagers.
Yeah, it would be a heat engager, yeah.
Like, if you have an issue with like moves which cover a lot of options and give you a lot of reward and very little risk, and there's little counterplay to it, I feel like that's Tekken 8 in a way. So I don't know why he would have an issue.
I can't think of a Noctis forward 1+2 in Tekken 8 outside of Victor's up forward 2.
Like moves which don't give you many options, right? Like Dragunov QCF4.
Limited options. I think
If we want to talk about Dragunov 2, I think the S tiers of Tekken 8 commit similar sins that will frustrate people. I think that, no doubt, like I would not even deny that Dragunov QCF4 feels a lot like a 4-4-1+2, where it's just do it, see what happens. So I agree on that point for sure.
Yeah, and like Nina's power crush into heat and stuff. Rip, what do you make of that Tekken 7 versus Tekken 8? Like, you know.
Oh, I think it's crazy. Like I didn't even bother chiming in on Twitter once I saw it. I was like, this is just people with short-term memory, man. Because I feel like even if you look, it's funny because even if you look at Combo Breaker at the end of Tekken 7, Knee versus Arslan, Grand Finals, on the Infinite stage, you know, the crazy comeback that Knee made to get the reset in the Grand Finals, like that was so incredibly hype in the Grand Finals and getting reset. Like, dude, that was the worst kind of Tekken 7. Zafina on an Infinite stage, and that was super hype. Like, people just have short-term memory, man. Tekken 7 was sick, even when it was whack.
Joker, what do you think?
I think, like I said before, like I don't like to compare the games. I like to accept the games as they are. But I think Tekken 7 was a great game. Obviously, it had its problems, but Tekken 8 also has its problems, and it's fine to have problems. There's no fighting game that's perfect, you know? So, yeah, I think Tekken 7 was a great game. It did a lot for the scene, for the whole series in general. Like, yeah, man, I miss Tekken 7, but we're playing Tekken 8 now. So
do you agree with the criticism by certain people saying Tekken 7 was ass and, you know, it wasn't?
I understand where they're coming from because we're playing Tekken 8 now, but I don't agree with it necessarily.
Fair enough, man. Very political answer, Joker. Thank you very much, man.
You're welcome.
Kokoma, what do you think about Tekken 7? What was your? I've never asked you. Like, what did you like Tekken 7? Was it a game that you really enjoyed and thought it was good?
Enjoy point. Like it's there are more things to watch. Like there are more fun things to watch. Like many point.
Mm.
Like this game is just almost thing is like 50-50, but in Tekken 7 was different. Like how they depends, how they attack, how they keep the range, kind of many way to watch. There are. So I didn't expect myself, but I also miss Tekken 7.
I see. Yeah. I think the issue really is, and from what we've been all saying, is just there's too many kind of low risk, high reward options in Tekken 8, which, you know, like a QCF4 is, again, go back to that move, you know, certain things like this which give you so much reward and very little risk and doesn't have much counterplay. So for me, I really do think that it's not necessarily just a system thing. I know there are some things we talk about when it comes to heat and the flip over and spike combos that we spoke about, but you know, I think it's like an individual character thing more for me. Like if you just nerf some of these top tier characters, nerf their options, then you know the game becomes naturally a lot less volatile, and you have more counterplay. I think you actually said this at the start of the podcast that, you know, you felt like you really liked the back 4-3 nerf to Dragonov because now you feel like you can sidestep this counterplay to this really strong move now, right? So I think that it's like an individual that Bandai Namco needs to look at the individual characters, what's making them too strong at the moment, and try to bring out some of these characters' weaknesses again, man. Because again, it's very hard for me to tell what Elisa's weakness is, what Nina's weakness is, what Dragonov's weakness is, or Yoshimitsu's weakness. So yeah, I think that we're all kind of in agreement there. One thing I want to show you guys again is a tweet actually from me this time, and this is moving on from the balance issues, guys. We're talking about something else. I hope the rank match will improve someday. Best of 3 is enough to play in a tournament. Online is not a tournament. Too short a match for learning. I think it should be first to 5 or more. So this is talking about online right now. It's first to 2. Of course, we had access to the deathmatch before, and I definitely feel like I have missed out on learning a lot of characters because I haven't got the opportunity to really play against someone who's very competent, you know, in ranked online in a long set where I could really learn the game. I know there's other resources, but what do you guys think? Would you want to see death matches or longer sets, at least not in ranked match, but in quick match, player match? Joker, what do you think?
100%, man. I feel like ranked has gone so stale, and that's coming from someone that plays multiple characters, you know, reach max points, etc., etc. I think they need to do something to like the rank system in general, and I think the point systems need to change. They need to add more ranks, and I think death matches should be an option. Like, I don't understand how is that not an option. I understand, I completely understand the reason why they went for first to 2 as well, so the rank queue doesn't go dead when people are death matching. But surely there should be like a separate mode or something for the people that want a death match or something. Like I think that'd be good because right now, like there's a lot of God of Destructions that are just playing ranked, and what is it really for? Because there's also still a lot of people that are one and doneing, plugging, like that still hasn't been addressed properly. They're working on it, but like I feel like there needs to be more penalties and whatnot for the people that one and done and stuff. I was playing one of my side characters on stream the other day, right? I was playing Zafina, and the amount of one and dones I had, it must have been more than 10. It was insane. Like, what's the point of playing side characters at this point? I might as well just play my main characters if people are just gonna one and done me on my sub characters. You know, it's not fun.
Kokoma, do you want to see a deathmatch back in online, or do you like first to 2?
I don't mind FT2, 5, or deathmatch, whatever, but maybe if we can choose the option like FT2, 3, 4, 5, deathmatch, maybe we need kind of that thing. Like we just choose what we want and just do.
Yeah, like you have the option 2, 3, 4, 5.
Option we need maybe.
But I don't think it's just the ranked part, like the deathmatch part, that needs looking at. It's the netcode as well. I feel like the netcode's deteriorating again, like it was in Tekken 7.
So yeah, I'm not an expert on netcode. I don't know about that stuff. You know, I know what's it? Chicken Mario was saying before the podcast. You know, we need more netcode, man. We should get a little bit more of that netcode, man. Pour some more netcode into the game. I don't know nothing about netcode. Rip, I think that's more your thing, man. I mean, what do you make of the netcode and the online system at the moment. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
you guys, someone in America was in my chat saying, dude, it's weird to me to see 30 ms because I was playing someone from the UK because we have on average, I think MYK was saying as well, 100 ms is like normal for you guys and it's quite difficult. What do you think?
In the US, yeah, it's not unusual to get like 100 MS matches. I was in Japan for Evo Japan, and when I was playing ranked there, it was like ridiculous. Like I had matches with ping that was like 10, and I was
Wow.
like 10 or 8 or 15. I was like, dude, what the hell? Like we don't get anything like this. I'm playing guys here in SoCal with me, like MYK or Rix or whatever, and we're always like 30 plus. I'm like, dude, we are like a 30-mile drive from each other, and in like entire Japan, it's like, oh, 10 millisecond ping. It's like I understand infrastructure plays a huge part, but there's something weird about it for sure. And it goes back to I think what people are talking about how the matchmaking servers work, and they were saying that determines your ping, which sounds really weird because it's supposed to be
Yeah.
peer to peer and everything. So I don't know the details. I didn't implement it, right? I don't know. I don't work with the development team on this, but I think that a lot of people do want to see improvements, and I think that they're working on it based off the last patch notes they had, where they said like, it's not going to expand the search region as fast or something. So that's something that they were trying to address in there. That sounds like it might have kept you in a smaller area to find players with hopefully better ping.
Fee, do you agree with that as well? Like,
Yeah, I think the online experience is crucial to the survival of a fighting game in the modern era. And I think if without that, it is so doomed. So obviously I think infinite rematch and quick match should have been a thing from the beginning. I think that lots of people like quick match and it makes total sense to have it there. So that needs to be, I feel like that is deeply urgent. I think in terms of improving ranked mode, Tekken Tag 2 used to be first to one, right?
Mhm.
And then Tekken 7, I think, used to do limited revenge match. Like you get like one revenge match, and then they made it infinite. So I can see multiple systems thriving, but I think probably the most fun way would maybe like if you win a first to three, get like a bonus boost of points, right? Like no like don't penalize the person for staying for a whole first to three. Like maybe you could remove the 3 streak loss or something. I don't know. These are probably terrible ideas off the top of my head, but something like giving someone a reward for staying for the first to 3 will probably be more fun for everybody, right? Yes, it messes with the ladder and it messes with like competitive like the rank integrity, but my opinion on that is as soon as people hit the top rank, we should do what Street Fighter did. Put like the master tier, give an actual elo, and then in God of Destruction or whatever the top rank is, let people infinite rematch there. So you get a really high integrity, high rank system, a lower system where people still feel rewarded and still get to engage with and have fun outside of hitting top rank. And in my mind, that just makes it a happy experience for most people across the ladder. And I think if you include infinite rematch and quick match there, the people who are oscillating a lot in mid and lower ranks will still be able to have fun and learn. So to me, those kinds of overhauls would make a huge difference. And then like a competitive player request is like having a random side select option so that
Yeah.
you can practice 1P and 2P between
Yeah.
matches rather than being locked into one for a session. And last thing is for player matches, especially because that happens in tournament a lot, have an option where people are stuck on true sides, right? So if you create a lobby and you fight somebody, one person can be left, one person can be right, but not both. I think that would be really, really cool.
yeah, because you can emulate like an actual offline match. And
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, my P2 move was very good in Tag 2 because I was forced to play
You had
online on
to.
P2. And now in Tag, I got lazy. I'm
Mhm.
a P1 master P2. I'm a dumbass,
I'm
man.
hopeless on P2.
Yeah.
It's a 2-throw angle, you know.
Even yeah, bro, it's crazy, man. But is there like I agree obviously with what you guys said. Is there anything else that you guys want to say like about Tekken 8 at the moment that you guys maybe feel is not so great that we may not have talked about? We covered quite a few things.
I think like some of
You-
the sorry, I think some of the schedules for like tournaments this year were like kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like some players were forced to play so early and then there was like a super long break. I think it happened to Kokoma actually. Which tournament was it? Where we both like had to play early morning and then we had to wait till like 7 p.m. to play again. And it was a challenger. I can't remember which one it was.
Canada?
Was it Canada? I
It
don't
was
know.
Canada, I think.
Yeah, I feel like tournament schedules could be a bit better, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. That's definitely something that we can bring up with the organizers and stuff. You know, obviously it was a tightly packed schedule this year, and you know
Mm.
I'm not on the I'm not on the team there working with the esports guys at Namco, but yeah, and that's hopefully next year now that Tekken 8 has had its first year, it should be good. Rip, you were gonna say something as well?
No, I was just gonna say, I think in the Tekken World Tour, it seemed this year like some of the master events were smaller than some of the challenger events. So it just felt like some events got upgraded from challenger to master events, where necessarily it wasn't as big of an event in general, right? So it kind of throws off the point distribution, but it keeps the regional diversity alive. So it's a little trade off they made there, I think. But I'm just curious what other people think about that.
So which events are you talking about?
I think Dubai was the one that was a challenger last year that became a master this year, right?
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
if you compare Dubai to some of the other master events, it's not nearly the same scale of an event, right?
In terms of like the players that are attending, or
No, in terms of like the master event size, in terms of like total entrance,
all right.
and the size of the competition.
Again, it's one of those things where, like, you talk about regional diversity, right? Like, that was a
Mhm.
region where they look at as a place which is accessible for Pakistan, right?
see.
But the thing is, what we mentioned in this podcast here today is it's not accessible for them anymore because
Right.
they've been banned from entering. So that's something they need to look at. Maybe look to Jordan. Jordan was somewhere where they did actually have the Jordan Masters before when COVID hit and they weren't able to do it. But Jordan was a place which I think Pakistan will have no issue with, and other places there you might have got a lot more people. And plus, Dubai was quite unlucky because it was also the week after EWC, and I guess some people organizers thought that a lot of people would go from EWC to Dubai, but after EWC,
Right.
all the players were like, not going, I'm too tired. So they
Yeah,
all
I'm
just went
tired, bro.
yeah, everybody just went home. So it's like it could have been a lot bigger. And I think that EWC also was so impactful and so important for the players this year that people reprioritized to go to to the events where EWC was a factor. EWC wasn't a factor for Dubai at all, right?
Mhm.
It was the first tournament, in fact,
True.
the first major. So there's a lot of thinking they need to do when it comes to that. But also like keeping the regional diversity, allowing Pakistan and other countries that have issues like Africa to be able to compete. I think having having a tournament in Malaysia would be very, very good. Even though I don't think it should be the organizer doing it right now because they didn't do a good job. But I know some really good organizers in Malaysia. They should keep running tournaments there, man. Yeah, go on, Sugar.
Another thing I want to talk about is like dojo statuses. I feel like there's so many dojos nowadays, especially across the whole world, where when there's DQs, they still keep the same status for dojos. And I feel like some people are even like making up dojos in certain like places, and
Fake
like
ones?
and they're still getting approved points. And
Mm.
some of these people have been doing it for so long as well.
So they need to.
I mean, I can.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can just say because I ran a couple dojos, right? So the process is really involved, and it's as a tournament organizer, it is kind of a burden. Like you have to do so much for it, right? So it's really what you brought up though, the disqualifications and double checking that. I don't think that they're doing as strict of a job with that as they need to be,
Yeah.
basically. And it's
Yeah.
really hard to enforce too because the dojos don't require you to stream the whole event. They only require you to stream the top 8, right? So anyone who runs a tournament larger than 8 people, like the rest of the names in there, you're never going to see them. You only need to see the 8. See, so like that part of the rule set itself is already kind of tricky
Yeah,
to
'cause
enforce.
it's only the top 8 that you need to stream, and you don't know how can you verify how many people actually turned up to this event? You could have ABC 1 2 3, and that could be a player, right? And but it could also just be a person that someone input into the thing. It's difficult, man. I do think dojos, like Kokoma said in the start, there's a lot of points. He goes, there's some people I never heard of that are threats to me on the World Tour leaderboard. I think that dojo points should also be lessened a little bit. It shouldn't be as impactful
Agreed.
on the global leaderboard than it is right now. Is it Kokoma 600 points maximum, right, for the dojos?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too much, right? How much do you think? 400 is enough?
What about the challengers? The maximum point.
Maximum points for challenge, isn't it 300 per challenger for win?
I mean, 303 slot, right?
yeah, so
this
900.
year?
Yeah.
900, 600, 400 maybe.
Yeah, I think that it should be maybe 100 points maximum for a 96 plus dojo, and then they can.
Yeah.
I've always been saying that, by the way. I think that since the dojo system came in, it's always been too much. It's always been way too much,
Especially now with the introduction of the regional leaderboard, like surely they can tone down the dojo points.
Yeah, for globals. Yeah, I agree with you. I think for sure, man. Is there anything else before we quickly move on to the next one? That's gonna be a very quick one. We're gonna. Yeah.
I think they should buff Fengen and Yachi.
Yeah, nice one. Let's move on to the next one, guys. Season 2 of Tekken 8. This is gonna be a quick one, guys. I want to ask you guys, like, I'll start with you, Fee. Season 2, coming out obviously next year, whenever they announce it. What do you want to see? What characters do you want to see? We spoke about the balance. a couple of things balance-wise or system-wise that you really want to see in season 2. The most important things to see in season 2, and some characters that you maybe are looking forward to returning, or maybe some nerfs and buffs. Like, what characters do you want to see nerfed or buffed, or yeah, what do you want to see in season 2, man?
All right, I'll start with balance because that's always the more frustrating topic to talk about, and then we'll finish with characters because most people like that. Hopefully,
Okay.
I think that a lot of people will be happier in season 2 if we are forced into straight offense a lot less, right? So buffed sidestepping would be really cool. Like the Dragunov changes would be really cool. The way that we navigate around Lydia and Heihachi in neutral would be really cool. If everybody had that issue, we have so much more agency in doing things besides hitting buttons. So I think that's really good. You could also like target heat specifically, but again, I think that's a character specific thing. I think Xiaoyu needs to be looked at. That's the Yoshi needs to be looked at. I think that targeting heat character by character to me makes more sense than going after everybody in a universal way.
Yeah.
And also that heat dash change would be cool of a non-universal +5. And then I'm a backdash player. I would love to buff backdashes. I understand why they probably won't, but I think it'd be cool, especially considering that like Dragunov and Shaheen and Paul have really good backdashes. So like it would be cool to see other characters have access to that too, outside of just the already really strong ones, right? Character wish list. I started in Tekken 3, so for me, Anna, Lei are like 2 characters that have to be in Tekken, and I know that's not always the case, but and I would hate to fight Anna and Heat, good lord. But from like a story, game identity type perspective, I think those characters always belong. So I want to see them. Yeah, those 2 characters probably like I wouldn't even call it a wish list because I don't really want to fight them. It's just to me a Tekken game has them. So,
yeah,
like,
I agree with you
that's my
actually. You know,
perspective on
Anna,
that.
I don't give a shit about, man. And I know that I've always been anti Anna, but Lei, I've never played the character. Look, let's be honest. If Lei joins the game, he will have 72 heat engages. He will have 5 million power crushes. He'll have probably like 200 stances, and it's gonna be so difficult. And you get hit by all that shit. All the laymen are gonna be like, well, actually, you know, it's not a real mix-up. All you gotta do is if you just sidestep and they're just gonna be bullshitting, bro. Like, we know that's gonna happen, but I still want Lei in the game. It's not a Tekken without Lei, right? I agree with you.
That's how I feel.
But yeah, cool.
I do have to run. I wanted to say thank you so much.
Yes, I know it's getting
appreciate talking
late.
to all you guys.
Much love, bro.
And yes, catch you next time.
Thank you very much,
Later.
Speed the Export Legend, man. Sorry, we're running a bit over time.
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna get fired.
Sorry, bro. Sorry, I'll quickly ask you this question as well, Rip. With things that you want to see changed in season 2, and quickly just a wish list for your characters, man.
Man, I didn't even get to tell Fee. Yeah, I think they're gonna. I think I want them to add an ice system to combat the heat system, and the ice system is gonna let you slide farther on your side steps and your back dashes. See that? So now you activate ice mode, and you got crazy side steps. You got crazy back dash.
Ice mode.
Pretty sick idea,
Ice mode
right?
sounds
Like the
good,
ice
yeah.
mode.
And ice breaks through all power crushes. It armors through all rage arts and heat smashes.
Ice mode.
Perfect.
So he just wants buff
Perfect.
slides, bro. That's all he wants. All right, nice. Characters, Rip. Characters for next.
Oh, yeah,
Give me
characters?
like some returning and one guest character that you want in this game.
Okay, yeah, I definitely want to see Layback. I think, you know, even though it's Tekken 8, so he'll probably get to shoot his gun and use his, like, tonfas and all that stuff in-game. It'll be kind of weird, but I think Lei is definitely a Tekken staple that needs to be back. I want to see Bruce back as well, and probably Ancient Ogre. I think Ancient Ogre, or, you know, I think Ancient Ogre with the heat system, you can transform into True Ogre, all that kind of stuff is cool. Mokujin needs to come back. I don't know what
Yes.
or why we don't have a Mokujin, but
Mokujin,
Mokujin
please.
is cool.
Yeah.
And he would be so sick in a tournament, too. Like, imagine, like, you know, Arsenal, like, I'm picking Mokujin against you, knee. Like, what? That's effed up, bro.
Yeah, that'd
And
be
he
sick.
wins, you know? It'd be sick.
That'd be awesome.
So I think that would be pretty neat. Yeah.
All right, Ancient, which is Ancient and Bruce and Lane. Nice, cool. No guest character as well. One.
Guest character. Ooh, that's a hard one. Damn, I wasn't thinking about no guests, dude. That's a.
There's
I
gotta
want. You know, I really liked in Tekken 7 that the guests were kind of unpredictable.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we got, you know, Akumo's a shock, and then Geese was like, okay, kind of same boat, and then we got Negan and Noctis, right? So there were like totally wild cards. But I think the one we missed out on in Tekken 7 was Shang Tsung. You know, so from Mortal Kombat, like you can make him like a Mokujin style guest character, and he could like transform to other character stuff, and he could still have Shang Tsung stuff. So
Wow.
I think that would be a dope guest character.
Nice, cool. Joker.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that. Joker, what do you think then? Just quickly about, you know, anything that you would that you want to see. A couple of things you want to see changes, like just nerfs, and then what characters you want to see in season 2.
I want to see a lot of nerfs. I want to see better movement. I want to see power crush heat engages, high ones be unsafe. I want to see spike combos gone. I want to see a lot of moves not flip over on the ground,
Yeah.
meaning not hit grounded. I just want to see like overall nerfs. I think characters are way too strong now. I think the game's still super fun. I enjoy it, but yeah, I want to see a lot of nerfs across the whole roster. The characters I want back, the characters I don't want back is who. Everyone says they want Lay back, but when they play against him in tournament, like you guys say you hate him, so what's the point of asking for
Yo,
Lay
yo, yo!
back?
I beat all the lay players, bro. It's
Do
cool.
you? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Play the Pakistani Lays.
Furimizu, Sukin, it's all good, man.
Play the Pakistani Lays.
I don't want to play any Pakistanis, man. They're all good. Dude.
Okay, I
Have
don't
nothing to
want
do with
Lay.
lay.
I don't want any layback. I don't want to play any skill level lay. I don't want to play Marduk. I don't want to play against Anna. The characters I want back, I want Ancient Ogre back, Bruce, Kazumi would be cool, Bob, Miguel as well. For guest
Kazumi would be cool. Sorry, I
Yeah.
had to interrupt. Yeah, sorry.
look how cool Heihachi is in this game, man. Kazumi would be even more cool. But anyways, guest characters, Kiryu, Kengan Ashura as well.
Okay, nice.
Someone from Kengan Ashura.
All right, Kokoma, season 2, Tekken 8. What's a big? Do you want to? What do you want to see change in the game, and what characters do you want in the game as well?
No more super strong 50-50.
Yeah.
And also tracking,
Tracking.
like doing same thing every time. I don't want to see that anymore.
Mm. And for
Just change.
yeah, change.
I just hope
nerf
change
nerf
that.
tracking. Sorry, nerf tracking, buff sidestep, all these things you agree with? And
Yeah.
no 50-50. Nerf Dragunov, nerf Nina.
I forgot to mention nerf slide tracking. Slide tracking
Yeah,
is ridiculous.
sliding.
Yeah.
hmm
Sliding tracking is
We'll
kind of
see.
that. All 50-50, all moves. It's too much.
Okay. Nerf.
And
50-50.
guest character or
No, returning character, Tekken character first.
returning character?
Yeah.
Bruce. And
Bruce.
some original Tekken character like Roger.
Yeah, bro. Roger, bro. Yes.
Roger, Bruce. Yeah, Ancient Ogre will be cool.
Okay.
Mm.
Nice.
Like
And
that real original Tekken character I want.
nice. And what
No
about
more
guest?
character.
Yes, guest character.
No more guest character.
No more guest. Okay, he's
No
not even a
more.
giver. You don't want any guest?
Actually, guest character is okay, but if company bring the guest character, then I hope that character is Tekken character, like Tekken system.
So which
No
character
more-
would you like if it's guest and like Tekken? Who would you want in the game?
Oh, Negan was cool. Maybe Negan.
Damn, Negan comes back. That'll be
Negan
tight.
back? Well, fuck Negan, man. I don't. That's boring, bro.
He
No,
was fun.
It was fun to play, to be fair. Okay, for me, I'm gonna say same thing as what Fee and what you guys said. You know, I want to see nerfs to kind of the 50-50 aspect of the game, flip over, all that kind of stuff. But nerf tracking and blah blah blah. I agree with all of that. For my characters, I want to see. I think Ancient Ogre would be cool. I actually think that Ancient Ogre is going to be, and that's my guess for who's going to be announced, because I think he's in the anime and everything. So yeah, Ancient Ogre, cool character. Roger, I agree with that as well. And for my guest character, Tifa from Final Fantasy. Do you know why? I've never played a Final Fantasy game in my life, but her fans are crazy. They're insane, and we need them in the Tekken community. I
That's
feel like
Haram, bro.
we need them, bro. It's I'm telling you, look, I don't give a shit about Final Fantasy. I don't give a shit about Tifa, but it would be really good for the game though, man. It would, what's this picture, bro? Why are you trying to
Just a
why are you
little
trying
jealous right now, bro. That's all.
What the hell?
Kokoma, why
suddenly-
are you kissing him? Kokoma, why are you kissing him, bro? I need answers.
Yeah, why, bro? Why?
Why? What was that?
Why?
Kokoma, answer the question.
What should I say?
I think that's a good time to end the podcast. Rip, Joker, and obviously PDX and Kokoma, thank you very much for joining us. Anything else you want to say before we end up here? All good.
No, I gotta go back to work, but I'm gonna get fired. Have a good one, y'all.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
outie.
Thank you, Joker, Kokoma, and thank you to all of you guys as well. Watching from home. This will be on YouTube as well, so make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to all these guys as well. You can see their Twitch in their cameras there as well. Level Up Your Game, PDX, Mupepe Kokoma, and X Joker as well. Thank you very much for joining me, and look forward for the next one, man. HEATSPEAK. I'll try to do this a bit more often, man. Much love. Take care, guys. Peace.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye-bye.